Hey you guys, what's going on? It's Friday the 13th. I didn't even realize that it was Friday the 13th until today, and then I was like, because the little thumbnail that I had before had Krampus on it, and then I was like, oh wait, it's Friday the 13th. Why don't I do a little Santa Jason? I'll do the Krampus one next week, because the Krampus art came out really cool. But you know what I mean. So yeah, happy Friday the 13th, everybody. It's almost Christmas time, which is fucking crazy. We finally got the Christmas tree put up. It's got lights on it, but no ornaments.
Yeah. That's because I pulled that shit out. The lights are built in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
It's just 3 sections. You put it together,
you just go
plug it in.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Then it opens up. It folds open,
like,
and the lights
leave
turn
it
on.
like that, and you just
That's
like
the shit I bought it from Sam's.
It's minimalist.
Yeah, I brought that shit at Sam's.
I did, however, get all my Christmas shopping done today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still gonna have to wrap it and stuff like when it arrives.
I don't really feel like I'm gonna pull the Christmas decorations down. I'll put the angel on top of it. Maybe I'll do that, if there's room. If not, I'll put the. And then I gotta put the little thing that goes around the base of the tree. A little fucking Santa Claus looking shit.
Bambi has already tried to eat one of the lower branches.
Yeah.
Like, not really, but she was just like down there, and she just like looked at me, and she was like.
Yeah.
Like toward one of the lower branches. I'm like, don't eat that. She's like, okay, I won't.
Back with the other house, one of the cats would try to pee on it.
Yeah.
Remember on that? I don't know who that was. It might have been Garbo.
Yeah, the cat that we used to have a long time ago.
He's gone now, yeah.
Yeah, he died a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, we couldn't figure out who the culprit was. Because when you have like 2 or 3 cats, and then you just find some pee somewhere, I don't want to blame anybody.
They were chilling. I saw all the cats chilling underneath the tree with the lights on.
Yeah.
And it had that little ring around there. There wasn't any presents around the tree at that time. It was empty.
Yeah.
And I walked by and smelled something like that, and fucking there's a patch of wet right there on top of it. Fuck. And it didn't go through the bottom of it. Didn't go to the carpet. So I just threw it in the washing machine. They took care of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know who it was. Somebody tried to mark the tree.
I know.
Yeah, that was my tree.
It was just kind of like, remember, was it last week or the week before? Like, one of the cats, I don't know which one it was, but laid down a huge stinky dump in the litter box.
Yeah.
In the litter box, we have 2 litter boxes. One is downstairs in the laundry room, and one is upstairs in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And it smelled so bad.
It drove me out of this motherfucker.
That you can smell it. You could smell it all the way down the hall. And I'm just like, are they sick?
Yeah.
It doesn't usually smell that bad. And I was like, holy crap, like you could smell it. Yeah. And I was like, looked in there, like, you know, I have to dig around in the litter box, not with my hands or nothing, but it's like, I'm looking around in there being like, is it, you know, are they ill? Is it, but it looked normal. I was just like, it was just kind of a, just a really, really, but I don't know who did it. I don't know who the culprit was.
And what was funny is that I didn't smell it as strongly around the litter box as I did in the
living room.
In the hallway.
In the hallway.
In the hallway.
Yeah, because for a minute I was like, did somebody poop outside of the litter box? Because I'm like looking with the flashlight and everything, like looking under the furniture.
Yeah, so I think maybe what happened is that the cat went to the bathroom and then came out and fucking farted. It might have been like an evil cat fart.
It might have been, yeah. I suspect it was
spraying. I was spraying, and I said, "Jen, why don't you clean that cat box out?" And it only had like one turd in it.
Yeah.
And I said, "Go clean that cat. Get rid of that."
Yeah, I was like,
but the smell wasn't coming from there. But it was definitely a cat smell.
But after I scooped out the litter box, which I do every morning actually, but it's like I scooped it out again. Yeah. And but after that, like the smell dissipated, so it must have been coming from there. But it was just like it smelled so bad that I really thought somebody had pooped outside of the box.
It wasn't though.
But I couldn't find anything, and it's gone now. So I guess that's what it was. I suspect it was Bambi, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to blame anybody.
We got a letter from.
Oh yeah, we forgot to say I was gonna do it on Wednesday, and then we got distracted with all the Soviet stuff, and we forgot. But Tammy, who is here right now, Tammy said maybe it was Tom. Yeah, maybe it was you, and you were trying to blame. No, I know it wasn't you.
No.
No
human could smell like that.
No, and you would have admitted it.
Yeah, I'd claim that shit.
You'd been like, oh. Yeah. And then I'd been like, oh, you know that scene from like Shaun of the Dead where the fat guy like keeps farting, and then he always goes, sorry, Sean, and then he's like, why are you so? Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No human could smell like that.
No,
it was definitely a cat.
It was definitely cat poop.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tammy sent us a very, very nice Christmas card. We got a Christmas card from Tammy. Should we read the inside? Should we read the inside?
Yeah.
This was super sweet, I thought. She says, just wanted to thank you for the many, many shows you have done that have helped me get through these past years when I was going through many deaths. I wouldn't have made it without the laughs of some fellow weirdos.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's
Thanks,
so
Sam.
sweet. This is why, I mean, like I said, I really have a good time doing the show, and I like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that, like, people just listen to us just doing regular shit, or it helps them. Well, yeah, because...
to drink, to go to sleep.
Well, we do the same thing.
Yeah. We'll sit there and listen to fucking Justin Wang or...
Yeah, it was like, we've been
Company Man.
We've been listening to, like, Wang and Company Man and Dan Bell and Brandon Tenold.
I'll watch Dead Mall videos.
Yeah. Today I was
very
like...
relaxing.
I had, like, a couple of big graphic design jobs I had to do, so I just put on, like, hours and hours of Lazy Masquerade, because I missed, like... a lot of his last uploads. You guys, I have like, you know, my Watch Later playlist on YouTube. I think there's like 300 fucking videos in there because people that's like, it comes up in my recommendations. I'm like, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks good. But I never have time to like watch them. Yeah. So it's like, so now I have like stuff in there from like 2 years ago that I still haven't watched yet, and I feel like such an asshole. But so I had missed. I love Lazy Masquerade, but I hadn't caught like probably his last 3 or 4 uploads. Yeah. And so I went through and like listened to those while I was working, like for 4 or 5 hours. But
fucking the world's fucking changed, man. All the good shit's on fucking social media. Fucking just saw a thing, Van Jones, which I don't really agree with Van Jones politically, but I like Van Jones as a dude. Okay, just I've seen him interact with fucking Alex Jones actually, and fucking one of Alex Jones's dudes. He's actually pretty cool. But he was, just as a guy, he's he's going on the news and talking to all these people, even like people from CNN or not CNN and fucking media people, and he's like, we ain't shit anymore. He says, they got streamers on Twitch or on fucking Rumble that'll stream and get 14 million views, and we can't even get 100,000 on fucking cable. And they were like, fucking weird. Wasting our time. And it's just funny because because they have to, cable television no longer functions. You have to fucking be in social media, and people will not listen to fucking corporate garbage and that fucking formats. I watch some of these I try to watch a news show and go, God, this feels so archaic compared to citizen journalism. Somebody with a phone taking a picture of a fucking bank robbery, it's just so much more impressive, You see that man shit that other one, It's just a lot more legitimate. You can get the feel for what fucking happened. Cameras are everywhere now. News can't keep up with that. But they're going to eventually adapt to it and be social media. But the thing is they're not going to be big players on it, man. Podcasters and shows like this are the media now. We're mainstream. Now, we don't have the pull of a fucking really big fucking podcast, but there's a lot of us. We all add up, and they can't compete against it. And it's kind of a better way to get entertainment. I prefer it so much over television because each show is a creation of maybe only 1 or 2 people, and the show stays consistent to the vision, and you know exactly what you're going to get. And it's kind of like in a style that is casual, even if they're used, like Wang uses a lot of damn colored lighting and Giallo lighting, and he even talks about him using Giallo.
You know how he has like the funny thing, like underneath his name, it's different every time. One of the ones that I watched the other day, it said Suspiria Lighting Enthusiast. And I laughed my ass off. Yeah.
Well, his show's great, man, and he does his own writing, and the writing's good, and the shit's hilarious, and it looks good. And you can tell it's the creation of one man. And it feels like you get to know him. And the time that he spends in the video, you could never buy that amount of time on a cable television program. That's back in the day, that was like hundreds of millions of dollars a year to have fucking a half-hour show, every day, or maybe like a couple times a week. It's just too much fucking money. And then, but I just think it's awesome how natural selection has created podcasters and YouTube shows and Rumble and Twitch, and there's new platforms showing up that some of the real young guys are on. They're supposed to be really good, but I forgot the name of it. I think I might just be thinking of Twitch. I have Twitch, but I never use it. I got it on my Xbox. Just every time I went on Twitch, it was hard to find a creator. I don't know how to use the search function.
I don't really use it, though. I couldn't tell you.
Twitch is mostly for like video game people.
Yeah, I know.
But most of the creators, from what I heard, are girls in bikinis in blow up bathtubs, blow up fucking pools, and fucking shit like that. But I don't know if they're still doing that.
DVD Dragon says, I heard a rumor that Tom Hardy is selling one-on-one instructions on how to do that back arch. High dollar sessions.
That's probably worth so much money.
He should do Do they have Cameo anymore? Like, he should do that on Cameo. I don't know if they still have that.
He's got a back arch fucking school.
I would go to that.
Tom Hardy school.
I try to do it, and I'm just like, ow, like it hurts, you know what I mean? Because I'm too old for that shit. CB says, Jenny looks sexy as hell. Well, thank you. But I have been drinking a lot, so I may start flirting with Tom.
Oh, shit.
Okay,
Who said that?
CB.
Okay.
That would be fucking funny.
When egg him on.
Oh, you know I'm gonna. You know I'm gonna. Okay, some people have been watching the Friday the 13th movies in honor of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
John said he's been listening to Missing Persons. Yeah, that was a great album. That was a great band. I had 2 of their albums when they came out.
Yeah, I really like Missing Persons.
Yeah, it was one album was called, I think, fucking Mental Hopscotch. It had Mental Hopscotch on it. I think that might have been a name. I think that was the first album. And the second album was it had Walking in L.A. and all that. What was the name of that album?
I can't remember, honestly.
That was the one that got really big.
Yeah.
That album came out. I liked it. I thought that girl was so hot.
Who, Dale Bozio?
Yeah, I was still in military school at that time. I was probably about 13 or 14. I don't remember exactly what year, probably about 13 or 14. And she was like, she was a hustler. Ended up being like a hustler, honey. But she was doing all kinds of men's magazines too. Not as that singer, but she was on the side doing that. And all that stuff was kind of coming into understanding at that time. And fucking, I remember at our school, at our military school, somebody got a hold of that. We were fucking saw the fucking magazine and shit, just the pages of some of the shit's in. And it was just like, it was wild at that time because it was before the concept of multimedia. So not only was she a singer, she was doing basically porn. We thought that shit was, I saw that shit was so fucking hot.
She's multi-talented.
Yeah, well, I thought it was like kind of like, damn, you know.
Like, I'm not.
Look at her, you know. She had this fucking new wave look, you know, and the fucking fake implants and skinny, pretty Italian chick, Italian American.
American Military points out Lady Gaga looks just like Dale Bozio.
Lady Gaga is a ripoff of Dale.
I mean, they do look a lot alike.
Yes, that's what she's copying it.
Or homaging, if you want to be more charitable about it.
Lady Gaga actually has a better voice. She can sing. She can act too.
Yeah.
Dale could sing, but what's funny is you go look at some of Dale Bozio's kind of like comeback interviews from like 2010, around that time, and she was astounded that people liked that music. She hated that music. She said she wasn't into that shit at all. She liked Journey and, like, you know,
so basic
regular rock, yeah, butt rock and shit. She was into that. But she said she couldn't stand those songs. They drove her crazy. She hated singing them. She just didn't like doing that. But she couldn't believe that it was legendary.
Shit, so they still play that at Barbarella.
Yeah. Well, they
usually play at least one Missing Person.
She did like a little kind of like a reunion shows, a couple of reunion shows with them. She was happy that everybody came. She's like, thank you guys for coming out. You know, after this, she's, I really thank everybody coming out. She's like, I can't believe people like this though. She's like, I never liked this. Fucking funny.
And everybody was like, oh.
Like, what? Yeah, it wasn't my kind of music.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Phantom is asking, who do you think, out of these 3 directors, David Blue Garcia from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, David Cronenberg, or Clive Barker, who would be the best choice to direct a modern Friday the 13th flick?
Wait a minute, what?
Who would be the best to direct
Okay.
a Friday the 13th remake?
Okay.
David Cronenberg, Clive Barker, or David Blue Garcia?
I don't know.
I kind of okay. I kind of feel like Clive Barker and David Cronenberg. I would be interested to see either one of their takes on it.
That shit.
But I think, yeah. The thing about Friday the 13th is it's just like supposed to be just like a straight up simple slasher.
It's dumb. Yeah.
And I feel like although I would still be intrigued to see their take on it, because they'd probably make it a lot more interesting. That's for sure. If one of them did it, you know.
I love fucking 1, 2, and 3 though. And 4 was pretty good too, but I liked the originals. There's something about the simplicity of them, the kind of retro charm. I would like watching them and remembering how fucking cute the girls were and shit. They had little nude scenes and everything. Fucking, you know, that was back before you could, you know, you never saw nudity except fucking, you know, it was on cable.
Yeah, so it was like, ooh, you thought you were getting away with something.
You and all your friends and fucking stay up in fucking summer and shit.
Look at titty.
Waiting for 2 o'clock in the morning so you can see that chick's ass as she's going into the fucking skinny dipping. What was that? That was part 2, I think, right? I think it was part 2.
Yeah, I think so.
So funny because we remembered that girl. I remembered that girl as being like a fitness type chick. She's not. She's just in decent shape. But for the time, you know, the standards of physical fitness were not as good as people think they were back then. You could tell she was kind of athletic, but she wasn't like jacked like you see girls that are jacked now. Just a lot of things, you know. But you go back and see those movies and realize how little gore there was in them.
Yeah, there's really not
much in them at all.
No.
Especially the first one. And the first one scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But really, there's not much. You don't really see much. It's all suggestion and fucking sound effects. Edit.
And the thing about it, too, is I think a lot of them were gorier, but got the shit cut out. You know, that happened in My Bloody Valentine. Because remember, for a long time, people thought it was like a pretty good movie, but it wasn't really that gory, and then it turned out that like all the gore had been cut out, so it's been like restored now and it's much better, but a lot of stuff was trimmed out of the movie.
There were 2 Canadian movies that were trimmed to hell and the gore was gone that I loved them because I could watch them rest assured that I wouldn't see a whole lot of gore. You know, I'm fucking a teenager and that was fucking My Bloody Valentine and Terror Train, which I remember really liking Terror Train, but we saw it again recently and it's kind of boring.
It's pretty good. Like I think it's funny that fucking David Copperfield is in it.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah,
that cracks me up. I had totally forgotten that he was in there. Like playing himself, like he's a magician on the train. Yeah. Is he playing himself or he's just playing a magician?
He's just playing a magician. They never say what his name is.
Yeah, you're like that motherfucker. David Copperfield.
Yeah, but you have recognized for who he was as David Copperfield. He was all over television. He probably wasn't all that expensive to get, really.
Yeah, because was he real big in? Because Terror Train came out in when, 81?
Yeah, that was like the height of his career. But he did a lot of shit on television. And
I thought it was slightly later, but I can't really remember. It's all a blur. The older you get, it's like it's all a blur. You know what I mean?
It'd be like having Chris Angel on there.
Yeah. I don't even remember what Chris Angel looks like, to be honest with you.
I know a heavy metal dude. Looks like Bon Jovi's fucking brother.
I know that, but it's like I don't. If he came up and bit me, I wouldn't know it was Chris.
It was all special effects though. It wasn't magic, fake magic.
Yeah.
You can only do that on television.
CB says Friday the 13th, 1980 was Kevin Bacon's first film. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
He got a little spear through his neck. I say it's funny like how many big stars like got their starts in horror movies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You see the fucking that movie The Burning had like a whole bunch of fucking people that got like Jason Alexander from Seinfeld and like all of who always looked 40 years old. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. No. That was the thing that kind of impressed me about the old Friday the 13th is that they may have cut some shit out of it. You didn't need it because the audience was teenage boys. You know, we're seeing that's mostly guys in their early 20s, and they're in those days your threshold was kind of lower. You know what I mean? You didn't really. Probably the most outrageous thing I had seen up around that time would probably be like The Thing. You know.
Yeah.
And then before that, maybe Alien. So slasher movies were kind of new to us, and it didn't take much. All you needed to do is like suggestion was all it needed, and a teenage boy's imagination would fill it in. and your memory of it would be different than what you actually saw.
Yeah.
You remember it as a lot scarier than it really was, and a lot more gory, and a lot more sexual. Like, okay, the scene with Kevin Bacon and that girl with the halter top, the little fucking hat, the frizzy hair, they got stabbed.
That wasn't Kevin Bacon, though.
Okay, who was that? That was in the first one.
That was a different guy.
It was a different guy, okay. But that girl, right? I could have swore that girl took her top off, and you saw a whole bunch of shit of her. That girl doesn't even give a suggestion of nudity to that movie. But you remembered that, and I thought it happened during when they were being stabbed. But it was a teenage imagination.
They totally stole that gag from Bay of Blood.
Yeah,
that Mario Bava movie.
With the fucking
spear through the people having sex. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah, well, and the sex scene was like pure suggestion. It's just two people making out.
Yeah,
they don't have shirts on, but you don't see anything.
Yeah, you just see like a little bit of side boob, I think.
Yeah, and you might see like her foreleg come up, with her calf. But you can't see anything. There's no nudity in it. But a teenage boy remembers it as nudity. And you remember that she had that fucking hot looking like halter top thing on. She had pretty big boobs. So I saw it. And the thing is, I saw that thing fucking 30 or 40 times. I remember it that she was topless when that happened.
Nope.
Which she was, but you don't see it.
You don't see it.
Right.
I kind of feel like one of the best examples of that is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Tobe Hooper one, which I kind of feel like people remember as a lot gorier than it actually is.
Yeah.
And I think it was really well done. Like, you see people hung on meat hooks, you see like people getting chainsawed and stuff like that, but you don't really see much of anything. It's just like all done through suggestion, but it's done like really well.
Yeah.
So when you think about it later, you're like, man, that was like so gory or fucked up. But like probably not now, but like the remake of it, which was actually pretty good. I actually like when was that, 2004 or something like that, was actually way gorier, because now you have to make it way it has to be like Terrifier level, or people are just going to be like, yawn. You know what I mean? Which I guess,
Yeah, and it was, and if I remember correctly now, because we saw it recently, there was no nudity in Friday the 13th Part 1, but there was some in Part 2. But if you look at it I remembered it as being much more. But seeing it recently, this shit was tame as fuck. It's just that girl walking out into the lake, and you get a nude back shot of her.
Yeah.
Which is about as racy as the opening scene of Jaws. About the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you see that in Jaws too. Just that the lighting was a little bit better. But a 14-year-old boy will be like, I'll be impressed, wow. Man, that was like hardcore porn right there. Just anything. She was
like I said,
it's talking about that shit all day. Was there like, did you see that? Yeah.
I mean, now everyone's just so jaded about it, because it's just like you can watch porn anytime you want. Like I said, fucking, it's just average ass people go see Terrifier and be like, yeah, chop her in half. You know what I mean? It's just like this person getting sliced in half, or like people's like a chainsaw going up someone's ass crack. You know what I mean?
That Terrifier, if they showed that at Sawmill Square,
people would have had heart attacks.
Back in 1984, that'd have been even as late as 84. That would have been a fucking the end of the world.
Yeah, people would have flipped the fuck out.
They would have flipped the fuck out. They'd have been protesting and telling them to take that thing out of there. Yeah.
That's what, because I kind of feel like people, I don't know, I kind of feel like some people, especially people that weren't alive back then, they're always like, oh, you couldn't make that nowadays, or you couldn't do that. I'm just like, movies are like a lot more fucked up than they used to be.
Yeah.
I think.
The horror movies are.
The horror movies are a lot more, but they're a lot more graphic. Yeah, you have to be.
They got a free hand.
You can get away with pretty much anything.
Well, they don't rely on theatrical releases anymore.
Yeah, so you can put anything you want in there.
As soon as they realize, well, horror fucking sells well on VHS, they said, okay, well, fuck the theaters. We're just going to make fucking horror for VHS. If we get a theatrical release, that's cool, but the money's going to be at fucking Blockbuster. And that's how that shit went down.
Well, not Blockbuster, because they wouldn't carry stuff like that. You had to go to like Mom and Pop.
Fucking West Coast.
Blockbuster would only carry cut versions of stuff, or if it was really bad, they wouldn't even carry it. Because I ran into that.
You had to go to West Coast Video.
I ran into that a number of times.
Yeah.
John Gora says, I'm a pretty jaded viewer, but I couldn't deal with rewatching the original Last House on the Left. Great movie, it's just too much for me at the time. The thing about Last House on the Left, it's really...
Did I see that?
Well, we did a review of it a long time ago. I've seen it many times. The thing about it is that it's so... I think it being from the early 70s, it's like, you know, it's Wes Craven. And there's just something so fucking filthy about it. It's just like you really feel like you shouldn't be fucking watching it.
Yeah.
You know, like that one scene where he's like making her like pee her pants and all this other kind of... It's just like, it's really horrible. And it's like, and it's not super graphic either, but it's just like the idea of it just makes you feel dirty.
Well, what it is, and I think we've talked about it before, me and Jen have talked about it, 70s stuff and early 80s, if it was horror or porn, was shot on pretty bad film stock. It was kind of grainy, and it wasn't really made to last. So it kind of degraded over time. But it kind of gave a weird patina to the fucking movie. It looked a lot more seedy.
Yeah.
Like it was illicit. Like you were seeing the crime scene photographs.
Yeah.
So it made horror fucking seem a lot more dangerous and subversive. And it made porn look a lot seedier. And there was something kind of attractive about the porn. It was kind of seedier looking.
Yeah.
But if you were to actually analyze what happened in the scene, that's nothing compared to what... those OnlyFans girls are beating that by a mile.
Yeah.
It's just that the tone of the film stock. In sci-fi horror, Predator 1 was shot in certain scenes on pretty rough film stock, and it looks great. And they tried to maintain that in some of the digital remasters of it, because the idea was supposed to look like Vietnam War footage. In certain, like when Mac is using the fucking minigun to fucking mow the damn jungle down, you see like an overhead view of him, and it's blurry. It's blurry, and the colors are muted. And I think it might have been on purpose, but maybe it wasn't. They tried to preserve that look, though, because it gave that particular shot a real realistic, like, combat footage look to it. It looked like something that was taken in the field, you know, with a fucking hand camera. It looked good. And there's just something about HD photography can't capture that visual tone. It's too precise. It's too clean. There's something kind of crude about it that makes it look better.
Well, like I said, I think that's even why a lot of younger people, like younger horror fans, I'm talking because I can't speak for everybody, but I just know a lot about horror fans. They tend to like, even younger ones tend to like older movies for that very reason, because you feel like you're watching something you aren't supposed to be watching. Which gives it like that added kind of edge to it. Phantom says Italian cinema has stayed the same with nudity and gore. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the Italians were pretty much ahead of the curve, the Americans on that one.
They didn't have the restrictions that we had.
Yeah, they were just showing like a whole bunch of fucked up shit, like back in the 70s and everything, like that they would never get away with in an American movie. But I will admit, like Mike Barrett points out, it says 70s horror was more shocking than 80s horror. I would agree with that.
Italy was a very different
I would
scene.
agree with that. And, well, 70s horror in general, everybody was, like, pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, because they were just, like... It had kind of got to a point where indie filmmaking was kind of getting to be more of a big thing, and you could kind of do your own shit, and so people were really pushing the envelope. So you saw some really, really messed up stuff like coming to the fore in the 70s.
I think an even bigger difference between America and Italy that caused those Italian scenes to happen. You know what I mean, like the Italian horror scene, and also the spaghetti western scenes to happen. What caused it was that in the 60s and 70s, most Italian families didn't have televisions at home. They went to the movies. And they would go to the movies fucking several times a week. And they weren't expensive. It was like, one interviewer said it was like the equivalent of like a 25 cents to see the movie. So there was a big demand for movies. And there was a lot of guys making them to fill that demand. And they were making them quickly so they could respond very quickly to trends. The American Hollywood really couldn't do that. It took a couple years to put out a movie. Maybe a year. But maybe it would only take a few weeks to shoot it, but it would take a year to get everything together, you know. Scheduling and shit like that. Getting the money. But not in Italy. They'd make a badass fucking horror movie in a month. And then go on to the next one. The Chinese kind of did the same thing with the Kung Fu movies in Hong Kong. You know, some of those directors were working on over a dozen movies simultaneously, just keeping all the storylines straight in their head, doing editing in camera, And same cast. They're just changing. Okay, in the next scene we're gonna do for the other movie, change costumes. Okay, and then they're gonna shoot a different scene for a different movie in the same location. Just they had it down to a science. But I think because the Italian demand was so high, there wasn't a chance for any kind of government oversight. The government didn't give a fuck. They just let it run wild. So nobody was stopping it, and there was a demand for horror. So the Italian horror movie makers would just try to one up each other, and they were only competing against each other, which made them get kind of extreme like that. Although the Italians also, when a big Hollywood movie, a big hit came out, they would try to mock that or make a copy of that hit. You know, oh, you like Jaws? We're gonna shit, man, Devilfish.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna start putting on even more shit. You know.
That was, I think, early '80s, but yeah.
Yeah.
It took a while to make.
It took a while for all that.
I saw that many times because it was on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a shark. It was like an ancient shark that also had tentacles.
Yeah. It was
like a monster.
It was like a squid shark.
Yeah. A squark.
Squark. Now, most of that Italian cinema sucked. Most of it, but they had some real masters. And the one that really comes to mind, well, in horror, it would be like fucking Lucio Fulci, probably, huh?
Yeah, Lucio Fulci, Dario Argento.
And Argento,
I mean, he did a lot of horror. He did a lot of Giallo movies too, which I also love.
In spaghetti westerns, although the best Italian, the one that fucking changed the game in the mainstream, was fucking Sergio Leone with his spaghetti westerns, they call them. They're Italian westerns, and that really changed the making of western movies, cowboys and the Wild West and shit. Clint Eastwood brought in the modern western when I was a kid, and his movies were good. He produced them, and he was starred in them, and they're just fucking epic, you know. But and they were good. They were good. I liked them. They did not have the epic music from a Sergio Leone music. He would have scores in there that made that movie sound so fucking important. They were just. But what I was saying is that what I was getting at was that Clint Eastwood got his big break really in the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, or the Man with No Name trilogy. Good, Bad, the Ugly, and the other two movies. And that kind of made him an international star. And when he came out with his own productions, they were actually an American reinterpretations of Sergio Leone movies. It was spaghetti western done by Americans, because that's not the way westerns were before the Italians. The westerns had gotten very stale. Everything looks nice and clean and fucking. It was
well, and they were very black and white.
Black and white,
you know what I
good
mean?
and
Like the
evil.
morality was very black and white. They were very simplistic. Whereas the Italians introduced kind of an operatic element, just like they did to the horror, and also like a gray morality, which actually made the movies a lot more interesting
and more accurate.
That
to
too.
What was happening, because what they're talking. If you look at the Sergio Leone movies, it's happening in the American Southwest, where the states that they're in might be Mexico, or they might be in the Union, you don't know. Or it might be the Republic of California and it's still independent. They never really get into the details. But whatever it is it's post-apocalyptic. Everything you see is fucking fucked up. Old fucking Spanish missions falling down. Dudes fucking running into fucking Mexican villas, you know, beautiful fucking farmhouse, and they're raping and pillaging and the dude's daughters and shit, and the dude goes down. It's like something out of Mad Max. And that's kind of more what a lot of shit was like. They wasn't this. It was kind of like an apocalyptic. You know, it was the end of the Spanish Empire and the Mexican Empire and the beginning of the new American Empire out there in the West. And the Indians were involved, and all the fucking territory was being fucking contested by everybody.
Yeah, Mike says the Italians invented the anti-hero in westerns with the dollars films. Yeah.
Well, he was kind of heroic.
I always found it interesting, particularly in horror and in westerns, just the kind of symbiosis between the American film industry and the Italian film industry, because there was so much like back and forth.
Yeah.
Because like you could argue too that slasher movies, American slasher movies,
Yeah.
were very, very heavily influenced by Italian Giallo movies, which had a very, very similar setup. They're not exactly the same, but as I said, like, a lot of the early slashers had scenes that were, like, cribbed from Giallo movies.
Yeah. Another thing that people forget in The Good and the Bad and the Ugly trilogy is that Lee Van Cleef's in there.
Yeah.
And he plays Angel Eyes. I think it's Angel Eyes, isn't that his name?
I can't remember.
He's kind of a crooked gunfighter, but he's kind of a hero too, but not really. It's just, and fucking Lee Van Cleef was fucking great, man. He was just as good as Clint Eastwood. All right, maybe a little bit better. I think he had a little bit more of an acting range, a little bit. Not really. They played the same characters over and over again, basically. But if you look at Escape from New York, Carpenter kind of reenacts a scene with Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood, except Clint Eastwood is being played by Kurt Russell. That scene where Snake's getting ready to go into prison and he meets the fucking warden, the guy, the head of security is Lee Van Cleef, and they do a little scene right there, and you can definitely tell that Kurt Russell is doing Clint Eastwood. And once you see that with your mind, you definitely see that this is like something out of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. They're kind of homaging that.
Well, John Carpenter was real into Italian cinema.
Yeah.
So, Italian horror, Italian westerns, like all that kind of stuff. A lot of filmmakers were, actually.
Yeah. Translated, like I said, real well into that
there was
movie.
A lot of influence going both ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you could argue, too, that some of the Giallo films were maybe influenced by Alfred Hitchcock, but the thing about it was that a lot of Giallo films were actually based on novels by Edgar Wallace, who was a British crime writer.
Get you another drink.
Okay. So, like I said, it's just kind of like, I know that, Italy, particularly in the 70s and 80s, had a reputation for just doing, like, cheesy-ass ripoffs of any movie in the United States that did, like, any amount of business, you know what I mean? It's like this, Jaws came out, so let's make The Last Shark, let's make, what was that one they made after Raiders of the Lost Ark came out? Tomb of the Sun God, something like that. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was, like, really similar. But they always did kind of rip-offs. They did a couple Exorcist rip-offs, too. One of them was called, I think it was called Beyond the Door. Either we both reviewed it or I reviewed it. I think I just reviewed it. I actually kind of like it. Beyond the Door. It's an Exorcist ripoff, but it has its own thing going on, and it's pretty fucking weird. Like, it has all kind of weird, like, tangents and stuff. But I was kind of into it. So I feel like a lot of people that maybe don't know that much about it would think just like, they just make ripoffs of American movies, which they do, but they make a lot of really good original shit too. So I think it's a little dismissive just to say that. CB says, Last House on the Left was just a rape movie. I have it on DVD, but it's not a nice watch in 2024. Yeah, to be honest, it's like, I'll watch them. I'll watch pretty much anything. But
she likes that kind of shit, man.
Well,
weird shit from back in the day.
I do have. I'll watch them, but it's like I have a really hard time like watching like rape revenge movies. I watch them, but I guess I'm like a masochist or something.
You like fucking I Spit on Your Grave.
I like that movie, but holy shit, it's like it's really hard to watch. It stresses me out. The thing about I Spit on Your Grave. Well, yeah, the thing about I Spit on Your Grave, the original one now, I don't think I've actually seen the remake, or if I did, it didn't make much of an impression. The original one is just so scuzzy, and so it's actually better than you would expect it to be, because it's like, it's just an exploitation film, but it's actually better made than it has any right to be, really.
Yeah.
But the thing that always struck me about it was that it doesn't glamorize the rape, and it goes on for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's it doesn't cut away. There's no music.
Yeah.
There's no nothing. It's just like you're watching it like really happen, and it's really disturbing.
Another one that's kind of like that, that's like a cheap movie, but it's better than it really has a right to be, was the original Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
That was a fucking good flick. And it wasn't a rape movie, of course. It was like people being ambushed by desert inbred cannibals. It's bizarre, man. It's a family of fucking inbred cannibals And the writing in it is really good. There's like internal struggles and turmoils within this inbred family. Like the daughter wants to leave. She's like the cave woman. She wants to get out of there. She wants to have a better life. The son is trying to live up to the father. And then they have another son who's kind of mentally, he's mentally bad off. And then you have the guy who plays the bald guy. Remember, who's from, I think what's that? He's very famous. He's got some kind of disease. He's bald, kind of, his head's kind of long.
Michael Berryman.
Michael Berryman, yeah. And he's actually a really nice guy. If you see any interviews with him, he's a nice guy, and he's
I've heard
very intelligent.
I've heard he's a delightful human.
And evidently, he was popular with women. The women liked him.
I could see that.
Yeah.
He's cool looking. I think he's cool looking.
No other man looks like that.
Exactly. No, you're never going to mistake him for anybody else.
Yeah.
Are you?
He had some kind of genetic disease. He didn't have eyelashes. I don't know. I don't think he had hair at all, did he? I don't think he had any hair.
Any hair, yeah. I'd have to look it up again, but yeah, I don't even think he had eyelashes or anything like you said.
And his health was okay though.
I would have hit.
Yeah, well, when you see him talking in interviews with him, there's something kind of like cartoonishly kind of cute about him. Like he looked like a cartoon character, kind of cute. Which you don't expect that, because the motherfucker, you can dress him up, he like a post-apocalyptic fucking desert cannibal, and you're like, God damn, look at that dude. His eyes are like that, you know.
Now but
that's not the way he is.
Yeah. I will say that he's not as weird looking as like a much older dude that had like a similar. I think he had a different malady, but he was also an actor. Was Rondo Hatton?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I first saw him in The Brute Man, which was from the 50s, I want to say, maybe early 60s, and that dude was really weird looking. I don't remember like what the disease that he had was. But it's like I just reminded of him again because I was watching. I had the MST live stream going like on YouTube the other day while I was working, and they showed Brute Man, and I've seen it a bunch of times, and Rondo Hatton is in that, and they make kind of a shitty joke about him, but they say he's like, oh, he was out bobbing for anvils, and I was just like, ooh, that's pretty harsh. But it's like, I mean, the dude's dead now, but yeah, he was like pretty fucking weird looking. So he always had to kind of play bad guys. But the thing about him in The Brute Man is that he's kind of like a Frankenstein's monster type of character in that he's a serial killer, but he's kind of a sympathetic serial killer in a weird kind of way. Like you still kind of feel bad for him. Yeah. Like even though he kills people.
Now in Hills Have Eyes, the people that were in the mobile home, I remember one of the women that was in the mobile home was real famous. That's how I remember. It wasn't Sally Fields, was it?
What, in the original Hills Have Eyes?
In the original Hills Have Eyes.
It wasn't. Was it Dee Wallace?
It was somebody that I recognized from another movie.
Google it.
Yeah. For some reason, I was going to say it's Sally Fields.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't Sally Field.
Yeah.
It wasn't Sally Field. John Goris points out that Last House on the Left was kind of a remake of Ingmar Bergman's Virgin Spring. Yes, that's true. Had Max von Sydow in it. Yeah, Max von Sydow was in a lot of Ingmar Bergman's
Another
movies.
bald, sexy motherfucker.
He was super sexy.
And he seemed old even when he was young.
He did.
He was always old.
Well, I mean, he was
always 50.
Yeah, like if you saw him in like in a lot of Ingmar Bergman's older movies, you can tell he's younger, but he still doesn't look like a young man. Like he doesn't look baby faced.
Man, he was a great character actor. He'd jump in, fucking, he was in Conan,
Gave
Flash Gordon,
some gravitas, man.
Yeah, fucking.
If you wanted to class up your shit, you put him in there.
3 days or 4 days of the Condor.
3 days. Of
the Condor. Yeah, he was great, and he played an assassin.
Yeah, I think my favorite Ingmar Bergman movie that also had Max von Sydow in it was Hour of the Wolf. Man, that was probably the closest thing to a horror movie that he ever did.
Dee Wallace was in it.
Yeah, I told you it was Dee Wallace.
Brenda Carter. Ethel Carter. It must have been Dee Wallace.
Yeah, I figured that's who you were thinking of. Yeah, because she was in fucking Cujo and she was in The Frighteners.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She was the villain in the Frighteners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I recognize her. because I always thought that woman was very cute. When I saw,
Yeah.
That's the weird looking dude we were talking about. He had the disease.
Yeah, Michael Berryman.
Yeah, Michael Berryman. In case you guys don't know who it is we're talking about. A cool motherfucker. Very intelligent and charming. But his job was to play dudes like that. And he was the only guy that was like that. He does a good job in the movie.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. Yeah, Phantom says
Wallace is who it was.
Yeah, I got it.
When the Frighteners came out, I was maybe... I wasn't even 30. I was probably about...
Well, yeah, I was 96 when
I was. So I was 26 maybe. And I saw that movie, and I saw her. She was in her 40s. Dee Wallace was probably in her 40s at that time. And that was like the first woman I was like, man, she's hot.
She was in The Howling, too.
That's a hot old lady. Yeah, but I didn't realize it was the same one. She was really hot in The Howling.
Because she looked different because she had like long dark hair, where she always had like short blonde hair. Was like her real hair.
I saw her in Frighteners, and I was just going, man, that's a really hot old gothic chick. So I'd hit, you know what I mean? That's an old lady. I still hit, but she was like maybe 40.
Yeah, she wasn't that much older.
No. But you know, when you're in your 20s, 25, you think that's ancient. Yeah.
Oh shit. Man.
Yeah, 40. Oh, that's some serious shit. I'm taking a plunge.
That old hag.
Yeah.
Which is like funny. Yeah, like the older you get, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how. Because I was thinking the other day that, well, not the other day, but I was thinking that when I was a kid, like in 6th grade or something, I very distinctly remember thinking about the year 2000, and I was like, God, I'll be 28 years old.
Yeah, I'll be an old lady.
Wow. Like, and how old that sounded.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny. But yeah.
In China, they would say you were old.
Well, even here, I think people would say you're old, but, well, some type of people would. But I don't really care. I don't care if I'm old. Everybody gets old, and I'm like, you'll get there too. Yeah. It's like, so I'm not really bothered.
It's just how you age.
Yeah, I'm not bothered. It's like no one's gonna escape it, so sorry. John Gora says Max von Sydow is great in The Night Visitor. I need to fucking see that. I've had numerous people like recommend that to me. And let's see. Oh, Dee Wallace was, in my opinion, the true scream queen, and she was so hot in the film 10, starring Dudley Moore and Bo Derek. I didn't remember her being in that. Of course, I haven't seen 10 since the early 80s, I don't think, or the mid 80s, because I remember it was on fucking cable all the time. Because, man, Dudley Moore was in everything back then. I used to really like Arthur. That was always on cable, and I used to watch that all the time.
Phantom said Dee Wallace is, in my honest opinion, the true scream queen, and she was so hot in the film.
I just said that.
Oh, you said that? Okay. I was reading other shit, so I didn't hear you say it.
I just said that. Because I was just talking about Dudley Moore and how...
I didn't know she was in.
I had totally forgotten.
I knew... Yeah, I knew that fucking Bo Derek was in it, but I didn't know Dee Wallace was in that movie.
Yeah.
Another one that was fucking hot, but you didn't notice she was hot when you saw her.
She's stealth hot.
She was stealth hot. There's that actress that played Lambert in fucking Alien 1, the short-haired girl, the other girl.
Oh, yeah.
She looks terrified the whole time. But
I always remember her from, because I'd seen her in Alien, and then the only other thing that I saw her in, like, that I remember a lot, was she was in The Witches of Eastwick. And she played this horrible, like, uptight, super Christian, priggish kind of villain sort of woman. And it's like, I thought that was so funny that was the same actress.
Me and you saw her in another movie, though. I think it was some kind of a police movie. And I think
she's been in a bunch of stuff.
I think she was playing like a high-end prostitute. She had long hair, fucking gorgeous outfits, or something like that. She was playing a character like that. She looked great.
I remember what you're talking
about. And I was going, man, she looks familiar. Man, and I'm trying to think of who that was, and I saw, man, that's the girl from Alien. I didn't realize that she looked like that, But no, they dressed up. She's fucking awesome.
Murder Hornet's asking that actress name with the super blue eyes. The one that was in, the one that you met. I met her. Yeah, I got a picture. I have a picture of you and her.
Yeah, I was fucking grabbing her like that.
That was in They Live.
Yeah, They Live. Yeah, her name was. She was also in fucking Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time though, so I wouldn't have remembered that. I'll think of it in a second.
Yeah, she's older, now. She's pretty old. She still looked pretty good. I recognized her. She
was recognizable as soon as she walked past the table.
And those eyes are like that. And fucking...
Yeah, it's not contacts.
No.
Unless she wears them all the time. I don't know. Meg Foster.
Meg Foster.
Thank you, Mike.
Me and Jen were we were working at what was that horror? It wasn't HorrorCon, was it? Was it HorrorCon?
Well, no, it's called Spooky Empire.
Spooky Empire. We were working Spooky Empire, selling Jen's books. And so she was coming by the creators table, coming in. I saw her, and I remembered her name. It said Meg Foster. She was like, "Yes, I'll recognize those eyes anywhere." And I'm fucking Jen's taking a picture like that. It says, "Come on, have a drink with us." And she's like, "Yeah, okay." And it's just, no, I can't. I can't.
She was gonna though.
She was gonna have a drink because we had alcohol. I said, "I want a drink."
We had a whole big bag. Well, because we were doing the we were hosting the free for all thing on Friday night, and it was kind of a tradition to just bring a huge thing of like little airplane things. So we had this huge bag.
We'd hand them out to people.
Oh, these tiny little. We just threw them out.
Yeah.
Man, everybody was so hammered.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah, she wanted a drink, but she had to go do all the meet and greet.
Yeah.
You down there where you pay to go talk to her?
Yeah. Yeah, Murder Hornet said, "How do those eyes look in person?" Exactly the same.
They look like that.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
So like I said,
kind of ice blue, real white.
Unless she wears contacts all the time.
Yeah. It wasn't contacts. I looked.
I don't. Yeah.
I looked. It wasn't contacts.
So. That's
she
just her eyes.
Very, very pale blue eyes.
Yeah.
And they might enhance them a little bit in the movies. I think they might enhance them slightly. Probably for something like Masters of the Universe, or trying to make her look more supernatural. But no, they were still pretty striking. Yeah.
Phantom says Meg Foster is in the '89 film Stepfather 2, which is really good. Honestly, I reviewed the first Stepfather movie, and I was thinking about doing the second one too, because I think the second one is also on Tubi, so I might get around to it one of these days. And I didn't know that Meg Foster was in it.
Yeah.
Man, the first Stepfather movie I feel is like really underrated. It's so good. Like, it's just about, have you ever seen it?
What's it called?
The Stepfather?
No.
It's just like about this dude that's like he's like a serial killer, but he moves from family to family.
Yeah.
Like, he'll establish himself with a family, like marry somebody like with kids and all this other kind of stuff, and then live with them for a few years, and then just butcher the whole family, and then change his identity and move to the next family. It's pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. Let me see. Hold on. Zach has just arrived.
Hello, Zach.
Hey, what's up? Now I kind of want to rewatch 10 because I haven't seen that in such a long time. And yeah, Phantom says Julie Andrews was in it too. I totally forgot about that.
I remember that was a huge movie.
It was. Like, I feel like it was on cable in the early 80s or mid 80s, like every 5 minutes.
And there was like a Bo Derek craze. I was young, and I
remember she had those cornrows.
She had cornrows and shit, which looked really different for the time. But people were talking about them, like, yeah, that's kind of cool. But there was like a Bo Derek craze. It didn't last long though.
Yeah, she was kind of the it girl for 5 minutes.
And I remember seeing her as a kid, going like, I don't really see it. You know, I liked Farrah Fawcett better. But I look at Farrah Fawcett now, and I'm like, what was I looking? What was I seeing? What was I seeing? I don't really see what I was seeing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Bo Derek would have been more my type than Farrah Fawcett. But Bo Derek was still didn't really do much for me.
Farrah was a bimbo.
Yeah,
Airhead.
I'm not real into that aesthetic.
And I think she actually was an airhead. In real life, I think she was.
Like that kind of blonde, tan, California.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not shitting on people that are. That's like, you know, everybody likes different shit, but it's just like, it's not really my thing, you know?
Yeah. She was married to Lee Majors for a while.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
He wasn't really my thing either.
Although he aged well.
Yeah,
he aged
and honestly,
well,
wasn't he in Ash vs. Evil
Dead?
Did he play his dad?
Played his dad.
Bruce Campbell's dad.
He's fucking awesome.
Oh, he's so good.
He knocks it out of the park. He's badass.
He's so fucking good at that. If you haven't seen the series Ash vs. Evil Dead,
oh, that's great.
Please fucking watch it. It's so good.
He plays Ash's badass dad.
Yeah.
He gets involved with the demons too.
He just almost steals the shit.
Yeah, he almost does.
It's so fucking
He's
funny.
in a bunch of episodes.
Honestly, I don't even think you saw this part because I think you were maybe in the bathroom or something, and I can't remember what season it was because I think there's been 3 seasons. But the part where Bruce gets his head caught in a corpse's butthole is one of the fucking funniest things I have ever seen in my whole entire life.
Again. We gotta see that.
Holy crap! I was dying. It was so fucking funny.
Victor said that Farrah Fawcett was from Corpus Christi, Texas. Yeah, but her adopted home was fucking California.
Yeah, she just had a California vibe. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I don't know where she's from, but like that kind of beachy.
Yes, she lived there.
Yeah.
She lived in California at that time, along with Lee Majors. You know, they were fucking doing movies, programs, you know, fucking $6 Million Man and all that. Farrah was doing fucking Logan's Run. And she did... well, even before Logan's Run, she was on Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
And all the girls at Charlie Angels were fucking it girls. For all the teenage boys had fucking posters of them. I was too young to have posters of them, though. I wasn't that interested. I was too young. I was like maybe 10. You know. But maybe younger, 7. But I remember like my friends' older brothers had pictures of like Cheryl Teagues and fucking big posters of Cheryl Teagues and...
She was also kind of... I mean, they all just looked kind of generic to me. Jackson. She was the dark-haired one, right?
Yeah, well, so was Cheryl Teagues, I think. They're both dark.
I thought Cheryl Teagues was blonde.
I think Cheryl Teagues had dark hair.
I mean, I don't really remember, so I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I think she did. I haven't seen Charlie's Angels in a long time.
No, I haven't either. But the thing about it, like... If you want to talk about Logan's Run, it's like I think Jenny Agutter was like way hotter.
Yeah. Jenny
way
Agutter.
hotter.
Fucking nice legs, nice figure, real nice body.
And she was also in An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. No offense to fucking Farrah. Farrah did a lot of cool shit. She's hot. Fucking.
Well, it's like everyone has a different thing that they like.
Yeah, Jenny Agutter blew her out of the water physically.
I always thought she was so beautiful.
Yeah,
she had such a beautiful face.
Not only that, she had a fucking great figure. Fucking nice thighs, nice legs, nice butt. She had fucking boobs. Fucking, that wasn't the California look, really, at the time.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't really into that.
The California look at that time was skinny. Coke whore, what they look like. Just look like she's
That was kind of like the 70s in general.
70s, yeah.
Everyone was like so fucking skinny.
And they were snorting Coke. Big time.
Well, yeah, you have to be that fucking
skinny.
Like that, yeah. that ain't natural.
And then them skinny girls that get into porn and they get implants and they get big ones. So now you got a skinny girl with the fucking big fake boobs, and that's where that bimbo look came from. Where it was a coke whore doing porn with fucking basketball size implants, and that's still a legendary look even to this day. There's a whole subculture. There's a bimbo subculture, and it's really more about female dominance more than anything else. It's, that men should give them money just because they have big tits and big lips. And they sell fucking videos that are...
I wish people would give me money just because they had big tits.
That's what it is.
Well, I mean, they're not as big as
it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate princess complex. You know what I mean? Where she's so pretty, you sit there. Your job is to take care of her. You do all her work.
That's right.
Yeah. That and then they act like they're bimbos. They act like they're stupid.
Yeah.
But that's actually the means of attack.
Yeah.
That's how you get dudes to obey you. They're not stupid.
Because dudes like stupid chicks, evidently.
Yeah. They're not stupid. It's an act.
You got to pretend you're stupid.
Yeah.
Like to get shit out of them. Which is
pretend you're stupid and manipulate them.
Which is really sad.
Yeah. It's a female dominance thing. That's cool. That's cool. I like it. I like the style.
I mean, you just kind of have to make your way in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you have disadvantages, and sometimes you just gotta work with what you got, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and they buy with what those are all weapons.
Sure.
Big fake lips and big fake boobs and skinny. Now they're getting fucking ass implants. She's fucking skinny as shit, and then they got 2 fucking butt implants back there. It looks ridiculous. But it's supposed to. It's that look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what that client is looking for. And I guess those girls want to have that look.
Murder Hornet said review Cannibal Holocaust. We did. I'm pretty sure we reviewed Cannibal Holocaust.
He's probably drunk. No, he's not drunk. Fucking Murder Hornet, I think, is in rehab right now.
Okay, so you better not be drunk. We can be drunk, but you can't.
Yeah, I think he's in rehab.
I'm 99% sure
He's sending me rehab photos past
week or so. Did review Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
Which I quite like that movie. If the animal cruelty was taken out, which I know the UK version is, as far as I'm aware, then it would be good. I can't really justify the real animal slaughter in there, which is fucked up. But I guess you could say the same thing about Apocalypse Now, because they actually do kill a bull in that. But so I don't love that. But the rest of the movie, without that, is actually quite good, and I would argue is probably the first found footage movie. Well, likely the first found footage movie.
John's saying that he hates BBLs. He likes natural Brazilian butt. And, I lived in Brazil. My family was there for fucking over 10 years. I was there for probably a total of about 3, maybe 4. I'd come and go at the second part of it. But even back in the 80s, they weren't real. Not all of them. A lot of those. Brazil had very affordable cosmetic surgery there. And they didn't have an FDA. So what they would do is just inject medical grade silicone into them. There was no implant. They would just inject silicone in there. And they had ways to fucking get that to sit. And you can't do that in the US, but you could do it in Brazil. That's why a lot of the bootleg BBLs and breast implants that are going on here in the US, it's Brazilian girls that are doing it, but instead of medical grade silicone, they're using fucking industrial grade silicone, which there's a big difference in how that shit's handled. It's not stored in sterile containers. You're injecting fucking something in there where you don't know what's living in that. So you can get all kinds of infections from it. Another thing that they'll do is instead of making it and putting a bag in there, like an implant bag, and then inflating it with something like, here in the US we would use saline solution. You can use silicone though. That people think that it's totally bad. It's not. You can have silicone, but it has to be inside of a fucking implant bag. Shit, what was I getting at? Fucking.
I couldn't tell you.
All right, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Murder Hornet said, I watched Debbie Does Dallas. Man, was she tweaked out on coke. Yeah, I think everyone was back then.
Yeah, that 70s porn there.
I mean, I think even people in like mainstream movies, most of the people were tweaked out on coke most of the time.
Yeah, that was just part of the thing.
It was just everybody was on coke back then. CB said, if my girlfriend came home with a big ass, I would fuck it into shape.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Phantom says, more like review Cannibal Ferox. Okay, we have not done Cannibal Ferox. We have done Cannibal Holocaust, though.
People don't realize that in the 70s, cocaine was not illegal in the United States. It took them a long time to actually illegalize that, put that on a... Rich people did it. Rich people and doctors and shit, and it wasn't that expensive when it started. It was just a thing that rich people did. Then they figured out that you could take a little bit of cocaine and make a shit ton of crack, which lowered the price. But it doesn't last very long.
See the film New Jack City.
And it's a lot fucking more addictive. So then the crack epidemic happened, and they cracked down on that shit hard. And they wanted to fucking just give people 10 years and shit. Joe Biden actually had a lot to do with that. He was the one that passed a lot of those anti-drug laws, and 3 strikes are out. He helped pass all that shit. And the Drug Enforcement Agency at the time told them, they said, no, don't fucking come down real hard on this shit. It'll pass. They were right. He said it'll burn out on its own. He says if you come down real hard on this shit, you're just gonna it'll get more expensive. More money will be in there, and more money will be in the trade, and the violence will increase. And law enforcement agents will get killed, and they'll be killing each other over money. And that's exactly what happened. The DA was right. The DA told them, don't come down real hard on that. You can make it illegal, but don't threaten dudes with 5, 10, 20 years for that shit. Because they'll fucking fight. They'll fight the cops when it comes time to get arrested, and they'll kill cops. And that's what they did. Because, a dude's going to fight over 10 years. And he wouldn't fight over a week, though. He's like, well, it's not worth it to kill this cop. I'm only going to be locked up for a week. I'll bond out tomorrow and I'll pay the fine. That's what it should have been like that. And the epidemic would have passed, and it did. It passed on its own. But I think fucking making it illegal and cracking down, it probably prolonged it because it was more money involved, so the dealers were making more.
Mike says, have you reviewed House on the Edge of the Park? No, we have not. That's another one we probably need to do. I did write it down. And yeah, that has the that actor in it that was in all those Italian movies. Giovanni Radici. Yeah, he was in some Lucio Fulci movies too. And then CB says you should do a review of Human Traffic from 1999. It's about the drug and rave scene in the 90s UK. See, that sounds good actually. I've never seen that.
Victor's saying the three strikes you're out laws were federal, not or state, not federal. There's no 3 strike you're out anymore. That's all been abolished. I'm pretty sure that was federal though. That if you had 3 felonies, and that would include anything like drug possession, that you're going to do life in prison. I believe that was federal. I mean, I can check it out, but yeah, I think it was federal. Let me say, but it doesn't exist anymore. They got rid of that probably about 10 years ago, I think.
But yeah, House on the Edge of the Park also had David Hess in it, who was also in Last House on the Left. John Gore said, I heard 24-Hour Party People was good, yet to see it. Honestly, 24-Hour Party People is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Don't take that, like, if you watch it and don't like it, like, don't blame me and stuff like that, but there's just something about it that really resonated with me. I mean, I really like the first half of it more than the second half, because the first half is about Joy Division and Factory and all of that. And the second half is about the rave scene and about Happy Mondays and that, but, so the first half I think is better. But it's honestly really good, and Steve Coogan is great in it. It's just like a lot of fun. We just reviewed it probably last year, I want to say, because I have it on DVD. But I really, really like that movie. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay, look.
What?
3 strikes, you're out laws were created federally.
I gotta pee.
So there you go. There you go, Victor.
I gotta pee.
Federally. Some states had them also, but it was the feds. Yeah, that didn't do anything but just damn fucking increase the violence. None of those drugs should be illegal anyway. They should all be controlled items. If you make them legal and control them, same way you would alcohol, all the money will be sucked out of it. And when all the money and all the fucking possible jail time has been removed from the equation, the violence goes away. I don't give a fuck if somebody smokes crack. That's them. I don't care if you shoot heroin. I've had friends that shot it. I don't give a fuck if you shoot that. I do care if I get killed in a crossfire because you're trying to arrest a dude about it, or fucking get rid of some drug lords. It ain't fucking worth it. Just because it becomes illegal doesn't mean more people will do it. Probably less people would do it. It doesn't have any mystique to it. Try to get my shit straightened out. Hold on. He says, I'm reading the AI-generated answer. Man, get the fuck out of here, dude. They were federal. They were federal. Although some states had their own laws. So it said both. It even gave the dates when they passed it.
Let's see. Mike Barrett says David Hess is also in Hitchhike, another one where he plays a crazy, sleazy madman. I kind of feel like that's the only thing he can play looking like that. If you saw, like, I reviewed the only movie that he directed, which was To All a Good Night, which is like a Christmas sort of slasher. I guess it's a slasher. And it was the first horror movie to come out in the 1980s. Came out in January of 1980. Not great, to be honest with you. Kind of piss poor, actually, but you know, I did a review of it, like, saying why I didn't really like it, but I think that it was entertaining just because of how it wasn't incompetent, it was just didn't make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Let's see. Phantom says Hitchhike is great. He's also in the 1987 Ruggero Deodato slasher film Body Count, which is really good, about a killer shaman, whatever. Yeah, I need to see more of his movies, honestly. I've really only seen Last House on the Left. I have seen House on the Edge of the Park, but that was like a long time ago. a long time ago, and we have never reviewed it. And Phantom just is talking about another Ruggero Deodato movie that I have not seen from 1988, Phantom of Death, with Michael York and Donald Pleasance. Oh wait, maybe I did see that. That sounds familiar. Okay, I'm gonna write it down though, because that sounds familiar. What, did it have another title at some point? Because I know a lot of Italian movies did. I might have seen it under a different title, because that sounds really familiar.
Victor, they changed the 3 strikes you're outlaw though. Now it's only violent crime. They, according to from this right here, they removed all the drug offenses from the 3 strikes. You're out. Like drug possession's not there anymore. I don't even think drug dealing might be, but then there's a certain amount you have to have. But it's not like it was, man. They catch you with one rock. They send those dudes away for like 6-7 years, and then if they did it multiple times, they got life. But they got rid of that though. Because they ended up fucking taking things off of that. They enumerated certain things.
I'm a big advocate of just legalizing everything and regulating it the way alcohol is.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. The thing is they're still around, but they're only around for like real violent crimes.
Which, that's the thing. I kind of feel like, I don't know, shit like drug offenses and stuff like that. I just feel like that's so low down on the totem pole.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the whole idea was not to stop the drugs. The whole idea was to make a bunch of money.
Well, yeah, that's
now,
usually the idea behind everything.
Because now Wackenhut gets to build all these prisons, and all these fucking cop shops can now hire a shit ton of people and get federal funding and shit to make their police stations rich. You know, it's all that kind of crap.
Let's see. Murder Hornet said Poltergeist is a classic, one of my faves. Yeah, I really like that movie too. Do you have any particular stance on whether you think Steven Spielberg really directed it or if Tobe Hooper really directed it, as in the credits? Because a lot of people think Steven Spielberg really directed that. I don't really think so. I'm sure Steven Spielberg was around, but it does have some very Tobe Hooper aspects to it. But it has some Spielberg aspects to it, too. I kind of feel like they probably just, like, worked together on the shit. John Gore said, I once inadvertently bought a dime bag of crack, thinking I was buying weed. I was able to exchange it before... Oh, my God, that's so fucking funny. It's like, no, I didn't want it crack. It's like, can I take that back? Do you have a receipt? I just wanted weed, bro. I don't want to... Does anybody do crack anymore? I guess they kind of do. I guess meth is the big thing now, right? I wouldn't know. I'm not like a big fucking drug person, but I'm sure you can probably get anything you want now, but I kind of feel like everything's meth now, especially fucking around here. In rural areas, it seems like it's really... Did we probably said that a couple months ago, there was like a big, probably like 5 miles from here, there was like a big shootout with the police, and it was like a meth lab or something. I don't remember if it was a meth lab or if it was some kind of fucking Hatfields and McCoys type situation where they were just like shooting at each other and shooting at the cops and all that other kind of crap. Franco is again recommending that we review Dead Man's Shoes.
Sounds familiar.
We will. I wrote it down like last time. So if I can get it somewhere, like we'll do it this weekend maybe. I did write it down among all these other like little notes that I made over here. And he's I was laughing at John Goriston. He bought a dime bag of crack like accidentally when he was trying to buy weed.
Who was?
But John Goris.
Yeah.
But he said he was able to exchange it, which like made me really laugh.
Yeah.
It's like bringing something back with a receipt and being like, hey, this isn't what I wanted. I didn't want crack. Yeah, Murder Hornet said when I was in the hospital, the nurses were tweaked out on meth. I kind of feel like meth and fucking, what's that other shit they're all on, that prescription drug they're all on?
Fentanyl.
There you go, fentanyl.
But yeah, that used to be a prescription drug, but I don't think you can get a prescription for fentanyl anymore, could you?
Why is the lighting all fucked up now? Did you? Oh, because you held shit in front of the camera.
Probably.
That's why. You messed the lighting up. Now I gotta fix it. Nope, it's not gonna fix. Shit. Adderall. Yeah. They still prescribe that, though, don't they? Is that kind of the same thing? Like I said, I'm not a big drug person. I'm not really on anything.
If I remember, it was fentanyl. Was the people that made fentanyl? They were from some family that was pretty known for making drugs and getting them approved for the FDA, and then getting contracts and pumping them out to all their friends in the hospitals. They were part of the drug industry. That they made fentanyl knowing that shit was fucking highly addictive, and that they would have a lot of repeat customers. And they eventually, an investigation happened, and they I believe it was fentanyl. But what I'm telling you is that the people that made this highly addictive drug, there was an investigation. They got indicted, and they hanged themselves in their mansions. They never stood trial for it, and I think it was fentanyl. But at first it was a prescription drug. But then they had the documentations and everything that the chemists that were working on it said, man, this shit's highly addictive. Fucking, and they're like, well, good. They'll just continue to buy it then. Yeah. And then they found them swinging and it took a long time to get them.
Yeah, Victor says all the ED nurses are on Adderall. LOL. So that's ADHD. Yeah, I knew that's ADHD meds because I know somebody that's on it. But yeah, fentanyl is an opioid. Yeah, that's okay. That's right. I get them all mixed up. Like I said, I'm not on anything really, so it's like I don't know what the difference is. Zach says, what was that painkiller everyone was on for a while, like 10 years ago?
Probably fentanyl. That was a painkiller.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an opioid. Highly addictive painkiller.
I hate this lighting. It's driving me crazy. Yeah. It's not. It's too
That's
bright.
Normal.
It's not.
It's normal here.
No, it's too bright. It's too bright. It looks all weird and like fucking washed out.
Okay, it's better.
It's not. It's the same. It's the same. I'm used to like what
Shine
it looks like normally.
In it again.
Well, you do it. I don't have one. You gotta like put it back because you keep like sticking stuff in front of the camera and it keeps messing the lighting up.
Got something that has like a white screen.
Yeah, Murder Hornet said it was hydrocodone. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I remember that. It happens. A lot of people get addicted to painkillers. No, that didn't do anything. A lot of people get addicted to painkillers, especially like after they have an accident or something like that. That's like how a lot of shit happens. Because I know several people that happened to. Where they were in an accident and they had it prescribed and then they liked it so much that they didn't want to. They didn't want to like not take it anymore.
Yeah, codeine will do it too.
Yeah,
codeine will make you junky.
I'm just lucky in the sense that, I mean, one, I never had to be hospitalized for anything, and I never really had to take medication for anything. The only time I ever had to take medication for anything was, like, other than just regular stuff like, I don't know, like UTIs and shit like that, but like antibiotics for that. But I think the only thing I had to take medication for was when I was a teenager. I used to get real bad ear infections. Like my ears would bleed and all this other kind of shit. So they gave me, I don't remember what the drugs were called. They just tasted horrible, like fucking sewage. And they were really big. They were like big horse pills. And I used to hate taking those. But other than that, I don't think I've ever been on anything. I've never had to go to the hospital like overnight. Never broken any bones.
She's pretty healthy.
Sprained my ankle real bad one time that I had to have a cast on it, but that's the only time that ever happened. Oh, and I cracked my tailbone one time.
Your mom pretty healthy too, isn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really get sick. I don't really get sick. I'm probably like jinxing myself now. I don't really get sick. I really never have. Like even when other people in my family got sick, like, you know, when you're a kid and like fucking chickenpox, everybody gets chickenpox. Yeah. My brother got it. My brother's 4 years younger than me, and he got it really bad. Like he had scars from it for like a long time, like on his face. Yeah. And I got it. I think I had like 3 marks, and it went away like after a day or 2. And I was like, that was it. Okay, I'm going back to school. Bye.
Phantom says the Moonstalker from '89 is free on YouTube. That name rings a bell, but I don't exactly remember what movie.
I keep writing down. I'm running out of paper.
Moonstalker. Which one was that?
I don't know.
I think I saw that a long time ago.
There's a couple really good channels on YouTube that have like all of these old like forgotten 70s and 80s movies. Like every now and then I go through there and peruse.
There's a couple of movies I wanted to see again. I remembered it as a kid, and you can only get it on Blu-ray, and it's fucking expensive. One of the ones that I wanted to see, Metal Storm. It had fucking Michael Ironside in it. It was a post-apocalyptic movie.
Was that the destruction of Jared's Sin or whatever?
Yeah. Metal Storm, something like that.
I remember them making a bunch of jokes about
and it
that
originally came out in fucking 3D, and I saw it in 3D. It was like a futuristic Mad Max ripoff. But I remember it being pretty good. And then there was another one that was kind of like Firefly, and Molly Ringwald was in it. I want to see that one again too. It was called Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that.
I actually remember liking that one. Fucking little Molly was looking cute as hell in it. And then another weird. There was a third one I was thinking of. There was like, what fucking? And I wanted to see that movie again. So it was Metal Storm. I'll remember. I'll probably remember it later.
Yeah.
Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. There was another one Ice Pirates. Remember Ice Pirates?
Yeah,
That's another one I want to see again.
That was on cable all the time.
Yeah, it was kind of like a sci-fi movie, kind of like a rip-off Star Wars /
Although I don't think I ever saw the whole thing all the way through. Like I kept flipping through and just seeing pieces of it.
They were fighting space herpes. They had some space herpes in a cage. They looked like little hot dogs or something, and fucking they got loose and they're fucking chasing them through the ship. They had robots fighting each other as gladiators. Just all kinds of crazy shit. It was goofy. That one was pretty goofy, but I remember liking it. I wanted to see how well I remembered it.
Yeah, you might be watching it now being like, what the fuck was I looking at? Yeah. Wow, I was stupid when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember Metal Storm having kind of an edge to it. Michael Ironside was a cyborg in a post-apocalyptic world. He was like hanging up in the air with a bunch of wires in his head. He was like on a crane, but in real life, but he had moved around, if I remember. Went up to the ceiling and would come down, and he was trying to get his hands on some teenage girl that was in the movie, trying to get her as a wife, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. And then the hero's trying to make sure she doesn't fall into his hands. Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah. I remember liking it. I thought it was kind of hardcore at the time. Probably stupid now if I look at it.
I'm going to write that down, though, because maybe we should watch that
Metal Storm, if we can find it.
Well, Metal Storm and Ice
They had it on Blu-ray, but I think they wanted $50 for it. See, I don't expect $50 for it.
Yeah, because then you're going to get it and you're going to be like,
Yeah, I bought Trancers.
This is terrible.
I bought Trancers on Blu-ray.
And then we're watching it, and I'm just like,
what the fuck was that? I couldn't even get through it. I was like halfway through. This sucks, man. For some reason.
Because he was talking about how cool it was.
Yeah, I remember being really cool.
Bought it, and we're watching it, I'm like, are you sure this is the right movie? I'm like, this is not good.
The movie's like nonsensical.
It's one of those isn't it Charles Band, like one of those full moon pictures?
Yeah, I think so. He made a bunch of them. There's like fucking 5 of them.
Well, Charles Band made a fuck ton of movies.
Yeah.
He was like Roger Corman, but
yeah,
his movies aren't as good as Roger Corman's movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Roger Corman at least had some fucking talent and knew like what directors to hire.
Yeah, Melanie Griffith. Was Melanie Griffith in Metal Storm?
I don't remember. I remember her being in Cherry 2000.
She was in Cherry 2000. That's a good movie. I like Cherry 2000.
My brother had a punk band named Cherry 2000 back in the day.
Great B movie, post-apocalyptic B movie. Melanie looked great in it. That fucking dark red hair. Running around in that damn Mustang in the desert. Her little cute little outfit.
We got a super chat from Zach.
What's up, Zach?
Thank you very much. It's weird how prolific Michael Ironside is. I know, the bitch is like, he's in a fuck ton of movies.
That motherfucker brings gravitas to your movie.
It's like, even though no one really talks about him, yeah, he's like one of those stealth motherfuckers.
He's a great character actor.
He's one of those, what they call a that guy. Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Like, people don't even remember his name necessarily. Yeah. Although him you do, because it's like a pretty distinctive name.
You bring him in to class up the joint, kinda.
Yeah.
Or to harden it up. He was great. He was great in he was great in fucking a lot of the movies, but he was fucking great in Starship Troopers. He played the teacher, and then he showed up making fucking the Roughnecks.
I liked him in Scanners.
Yeah, Scanners. He was great in Scanners too. Yeah,
he's fucking fun in that.
Yeah, he's good in everything.
Mm-hmm. That's really funny. They were talking about drugs still. Okay, hold on. Oh, Zach says Oxy too. Yeah, oxycodone. They gave me those when I had my wisdom teeth out. But I had a dry socket and it hurt so bad all the Oxy did was even me out, so it worked. But, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, I don't know if I ever grew any wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
I never had wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
I never had any problems with any pain or anything back there. Now, the tooth in the very, very back of my mouth on the top actually did break, and it kind of just fell out on its own. But I don't know if that was a wisdom tooth or not. I don't know if I ever grew any wisdom teeth.
John said that he couldn't really get into Cherry 2000. Yeah, he said he needed to see it again. Yeah, see it again. It aged very well. At the time it came out, I saw it a couple times on cable. And I watched it, but I also kind of thought it was crappy. But now with hindsight and knowing more movies, it's very much kind of like A Boy and His Dog, which is another good post-apocalyptic movie. And you can get that movie for free because that's in public domain.
We reviewed it a long time ago.
I got a Blu-ray copy of it.
Yeah.
Cleaned up Blu-ray because guys are bootlegging. You can bootleg that movie at will. Because there's, nobody owns it. But Cherry 2000 was good when you put it in the context of it's like Cherry 2000. That's the tone. When Cherry 2000 came out, I liked it. It had some cool things in it, but I thought it was too silly. But seeing it again, it's the tone of the movie. The tone of the movie is not Mad Max. I wanted it to be more like Mad Max. It's not Mad Max. It's a little more like Boy and His Dog, which had a comedy element to it. There's a lot of comedy in Cherry 2000. But it's good. It's good. It aged well. It looks good, too, if you see it in Blu-ray on an HD screen. A lot better than it did on television.
Phantom says Melanie Griffith plays a stripper in the 1984 film Fear City. It has a racist cop version of Billy D. Williams. It's about a serial killer that kills a bunch of mob strippers with a great end fight. And yeah, didn't somebody point out that was Abel Ferreira? I don't think I've seen that, honestly, or if I did, I don't remember it, and I love Abel Ferreira. Mike says my favorite Melanie Griffiths film is Body Double. Yeah, I really like Body Double. I think we did review that, didn't we? Didn't we do Body Double?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we did. Murder Hornet then says Fright Night was awesome. I mean, Fright Night is one of the best horror comedies ever made, if you're talking about the original one from 1985. I haven't seen the remake, to be honest with you. I didn't see how it could be any better. You know what I mean? No, it's just kind of like, meh. It might be alright, but I don't know. I just don't think that it could be any better. I'm pretty sure we did Body Double. I think we did. Right? Shit. Now I can't remember. We've reviewed so many movies. Yeah, Zach says, I was so confused watching Body Double. It starts out as a mystery thing, and then it just turns into a fever dream halfway through. I mean, that's okay, though. That's okay. Oh, I gotta write down Fear City, too. And he said that's on the same level as 10 to Midnight. I don't think that I've seen that. Like I said, back in the old days, in the 80s and 90s, I used to watch just a lot of cable, because we had, all the pay movie channels. And so, a lot of times I would just watch whatever was on. So, I've seen probably, a lot more movies than I remember. Because sometimes I'll be watching a movie that I think I've never seen before, and I'm like, wait, I've seen this. You know what I mean? I'll remember it. But, Liquid Sky is fucking weird. It is, yeah. They had it on Shudder. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but they had it on Shudder probably last year. And I watched it, and yeah, it's one of the weirdest. It's one of the weirdest things ever. Just the fucking, I don't know. It's pretty out there. It's pretty out there. And I like fucking weird movies. You know what I mean? I couldn't quite get into it, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind giving it another watch. I don't know if it's still on Shudder or not. I'd have to look, but it was, because that's where I watched it before. John Gore said A Boy and His Dog was directed by one of Sam Peckinpah's troupe, L.Q. Jones. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Okay. Speaking of Sam Peckinpah, that's one movie that I don't think we reviewed that we probably should is Straw Dogs. Because I'm really into that movie. But, That's kind of another rape revenge movie, I guess. But I don't think we've ever done that one either. So I'm going to write that one down. Holy crap, we have such a long list. We have such a long list. Do you remember the movie Straw Dogs?
Sounds familiar.
Sam Peckinpah?
I don't know who that is.
The director?
Uh-uh.
That did all the westerns and stuff?
I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. I mean, you would know if you saw it, but
I don't know the premise.
it's like a rape revenge film, but it's like super brutal.
No, I wouldn't have seen that probably.
I bet you've probably seen it.
No.
That's probably another one we should review because I don't think we've reviewed it. Let's see. Yeah, Phantom said I saw Fear City over the summer for the first time and liked it enough to get the VHS. And then he's also talking about the movie The Apple. I've never seen the movie The Apple, but I did watch. It was either Brandon Tenold or another channel like that did like a breakdown of it and showed like big long clips of it. So I've seen like a lot of it, but I've never sat and watched the whole thing. It is pretty fucking weird.
Hornet mentions how weird Liquid Sky was.
Yeah.
That movie, I'm not sure that
we watched it on Shudder like a year or two ago.
Yeah. That movie felt like they were just making it up as they were going along.
Which maybe they were.
Yeah, and it was a way of making a movie and getting all your club friends in it.
Well, yeah.
There were definitely nightclub people as part of that scene that did that. And it wasn't really a story from what I remember. It was a bunch of scenes, one after another, and things happened, and and then in the end, an alien shows up. And you're like, what the fuck is that? And then it ends. Then the alien shows up. That's all it was.
Pretty much.
And I think it was more of a vehicle to get your friends on screen.
Yeah.
And to make a movie, probably get laid for making the movie, something like that.
I mean, that's okay. Like I said, I don't really care. Like as long as I'm entertained, it's all good.
It's a cult classic.
It is, yeah.
Like Repo Man is a cult classic.
That's another one that I don't think we've reviewed. Have we done Repo Man?
I don't think so.
Shit, we need to do Repo Man.
Repo Man, I remember it being pretty good, but it also had some times where it went out on a limb and got incoherent for a little bit, and then it came back in. Wasn't it like 2 or 3 movies kind of scrunched together, if I remember correctly? Where you're like, the story goes off in a direction, and then they forget that, and then it goes somewhere else. Did that happen? I don't remember there being an overarching story to Repo Man.
Let's see.
Although I might be talking about the one. Is that the one where the bum? I think I was thinking of the one where the bums were being eaten by the toilets.
That's Street Trash.
Street Trash. I think I might.
That's a completely different movie.
Yeah, I think I might be getting confused with Street Trash.
Where they like melted into all those different colors.
Yeah, it did
that
make
was Street
sense.
Trash.
Yeah.
That is also a cult classic.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I kept kind of hoping that it would be weirder.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they have like a weird premise like that, I'm just like, lean into it, and I feel like a lot of people don't lean into it hard enough.
He didn't have the money.
I guess not.
One of the best low budget sci-fi movies is actually They Live, and it didn't have a whole lot of special effects in it. It had some, but it was mostly just a good story and a bunch of acting and not knowing what the fuck is going on. Roddy Piper, the wrestler Roddy Piper, is the lead role with the guy who was from The Thing. What was his name? Keith David.
Yeah.
Keith David does a good job at it, and Meg Foster's in it too.
That's right.
Yeah,
I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, it was a good story, and it had that same fucking old guy. Of course, I'm a president. Remember, fucking Carpenter always puts that fucking old dude in there that he can play bums, drunks, scumbags, just whatever. He's just a dude with a beard. He's one of his friends, And in this one, he shows up as a rich guy who's working with the aliens. He goes, "Oh, you've joined the team." Just every time you see him, he's different. He's doing something else. Pretty good.
Yeah, John Gora says they just remade Street Trash. Didn't see it. Yeah, I just don't see the point of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of the...
Why would you remake that?
The low budget weirdness of it was kind of the point of it. I don't really see why you'd want to remake that.
Yeah.
John Goris also said, I wouldn't call They Live low budget. It was modestly budgeted. Yeah, because, I mean, at this stage, John Carpenter was getting okay budgets for his movies. He wasn't so much, like, unproven, like when he did Halloween, or Dark Star, I guess, was what it came out before that. But
I remember the feel of the movie being pretty low budget, but good quality. That's why I remember it.
I don't remember what the budget was exactly, but I don't think it was, like, super, super low.
Yeah.
Let's see. Murder Hornet said, if you can find The Whore Mangler, the weirdest fucking movie I ever seen. The Whore Mangler. That kind of sounds like something I need to see.
Now, I read...
Kind of like The Greasy Strangler. We did review that.
read that they're actually thinking about either remaking The Frighteners or making a sequel to The Frighteners. Because Michael J. Fox is still alive. And they said the problem with that movie is that the special effects for the time were really expensive, and it just cut into the profit margin. And I don't know if people went and saw it, but they said it's now a cult classic, and it has a lot of fans, and it's built up over the years. That they should revisit that because it's a lot cheaper to do those kinds of effects now.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. They were using CGI.
Yeah, I mean, back then it was kind of, that was 96, so it was like kind of at the cutting edge.
Yeah.
They said what they wanted to do, and they couldn't really afford it.
They said that they could remake that movie for the same amount of money as that you would do like a couple episodes of a Netflix series. So, still in the millions, you know, but it's a lot easier to do now. Look how good the special effects on Mandalorian were than the first and second season.
Yeah, I mean, it's
you couldn't do that in '77.
No, of course not. Zach,
what was great about the first two seasons of Mandalorian is that they actually captured kind of that used feeling and the retro feeling of the 70s. Things looked rough and dirty, you know. Even though you had high-tech fucking CGI going on, it still kind of looked like something that would actually exist. Kind of. More so than all the ones from the Star Wars prequels. None of that looks real.
Well, yeah, that all just looks like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
It's one big CGI movie.
Zach says Luca Guadagnino, who's the guy that remade the Suspiria, his new movie Queer just came out, no pun intended, and Daniel Craig is in it as a gay guy in 1940s Mexico. Looks surreal as fuck. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. And I guess it's getting big Oscar buzz.
I think Daniel Craig is gay in real life, isn't he?
I don't know. I never really got that. I don't really think about it when I see people, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I associate him with James Bond. I liked it. He was good in that fucking. I don't know. He was good in that fucking.
Knives Out.
Knives Out.
Yeah, I liked.
Done by Ryan Johnson. Ryan Roundhead Johnson.
I liked Knives Out.
Yeah, the man who fucked up Star Wars.
Well, and they also did. We also saw the next movie that they did with that investigator character, which was called what, Glass Onion, or
yeah. We saw that.
It was good, but I don't think it was as good as Knives Out, but it was still like pretty good. Yeah. I think we reviewed it.
But
Tammy says no, P dates hot women.
He does. Okay. All right, wasn't sure.
Oh, he's married to Rachel Weisz. I didn't know that actually. Okay, right. Yeah, I know who that is.
I wasn't sure. You know, I thought that anything's possible, and he's played a lot of gay characters, and I didn't know that he was. I never Googled to see who his girlfriend was, but it just.
No, he's married.
Okay, he's married.
To Rachel Weisz. She was in. Wasn't she in The Favorite? I think she was in The Favorite.
Yeah.
If I remember. I know what she looks like. I just can't I can picture her, but it's just like, yeah. So okay. I didn't know, like I said, I don't look up people's personal lives or anything. But he does. But honestly, that's kind of cool though that they get, I mean, gay actors have to play straight all the time. So why can't some straight ones play gay characters sometimes? They're good at it. It's just a character.
He's played a bunch of gay characters. I thought maybe he was gay.
Well, not a bunch. I mean, just
like
that
3, I think.
Well,
the dude from Knives Out.
Well, the dude from Knives Out. They don't come right out and say that, do they? But it's
no, he comes out and says it.
Well, I think he comes out and says it in Glass Onion. But I think in Knives Out, I don't think. But I think it's pretty strongly implied.
And then there's one where I think where he first appeared. I think it was kind of club-oriented movie. I think.
Oh yeah, maybe. I haven't seen a lot of his old ones. I did see some of, because he was in a lot of British gangster films. He was in Layer Cake and all that kind of stuff. Which that's another one we need to review because I think you'd probably like that.
He's a great James Bond, man. That's my favorite James Bond. The only thing close to him is the one from fucking Lazenby.
George Lazenby.
George Lazenby from Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Which, that's
our best fucking Bond.
When we were doing all the Bond movies, we didn't do all the Bond movies. We did a lot of Bond movies.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking, he was only in one, and it's how good can it be? And I knew it was really divisive. But when we watched it, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah. Fucking Craig.
Why didn't they let it? I guess he didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it. Fucking Craig's James Bond is kind of based on Lazenby's James Bond. It's that same tone. It's kind of more realistic. He gets hurt. He gets dirty. He can fight. He's not really a pretty boy. He's tough. Gets in, he's not. Also, he's not a fucking poon hound, fucking sexist kind of dude like Roger Moore character was.
Which always kind of annoyed me.
Yeah,
honestly.
and they're
I was
kind
like,
of
man, I
mocking.
will punch you right in the dick.
And the movie kind of is self-aware, kind of mocking. The Moore James Bond as being a fucking relic of the past. It was very like and I'm not some fucking like super PC dude or anything, but it's just like, man, that dude's a bitch. James Bond is a fucking bitch. He meets a woman who can fly a helicopter. He goes, you can fly a helicopter? Oh, well, what's the world coming to? Kind of deal. It's like, dude, you're a fucking bitch. Of course she can fly a helicopter.
It's like,
women fly helicopters? They had fucking female fucking Apache pilots. Not Apache pilots. Chinook pilots and fucking Black Hawk pilots when I was in the 101st Airborne Division. And also up in Korea in 2nd ID in the 506. Because 506 was attached to Korea at that time. Or 2nd ID. And from what I saw, they could fly good.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I always thought that was so
Aggressive
tiresome,
flies.
and it was just kind of like so... Yeah. But it was so baked into the culture of 50s, 60s, like sitcom kind of stuff. It's like, oh, women, they can't drive, they can't do... It's like, okay. Yeah, we can't do anything.
In Majesty's Secret Service, I mean, they got women in there that are badasses. But they're doing things that a woman could do. It's not anything, like, unrealistic. Like, they're driving cars and evading shit. And Bond's like, man, this chick's like a secret agent. And he marries her. Yeah. Spoiler alert, it doesn't turn out well. But
well, it never does.
Yeah. Yeah, and she and fucking through that movie, you're kind of rooting for her too. She's fucking good. And,
well, because he sees her as an equal, which I thought was kind of cool, because that's really not on brand with the old James Bond.
She came from a real wealthy mafia family. That character. Her dad owned like a huge construction company, and he had his own band of mercenaries, and they had kind of like the capabilities of an intelligence agency. And they could work for an intelligence agency, like which that happens, which that's a fucking great touch. And that was great in them. Another thing that was great in the movie is that they had gadgetry, but the thing is the gadgetry was realistic. Like he had a thing that could crack a safe, but it took time. It wasn't instant. Remember, he was sitting there reading a magazine and going, "Man, I hope this dude doesn't come back," because he had broken the dude's office.
This is taking forever.
And it finally opened the fucking safe. There's just, you know what I mean.
Which is more, like I said, more realistic. Because it wouldn't just be like, pachonk, I can do it. Yeah, James, it's magic.
Yeah, fucking Roger Moore's James Bond, he would have went up and just fucking, take something the Q gave him and touched it, and it goes away. Yeah. That, ta-da. Yeah. No, everything this Bond was doing was like risky.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of fucking...
And then the bad guy, Telly Savalas, fucking knocks it out of the park as fucking Blofeld.
Yeah, because Mike is saying...
Telly's the shit, boy. Man.
Yeah, he's super cool in that movie.
Yeah, cool dude.
Mike is saying
in real life.
Timothy Dalton has done the more realistic Bond before Craig. He did, but I'm just saying that
this one's even better. And I like
George Lazenby's
is better
on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which came out in what 69, 70, 71, something like that. And it was the only Bond that he did, but that was kind of like a more gritty, realistic kind of Bond, like way back in the day.
I put it the Craig Bonds. I even like the fourth one. The last one, like No Time to Die, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was good. We saw it in the theater, actually.
There was no real bad ones in that. That's really my favorite Bond. And then under that, Lazenby, and then under that, fucking...
Sean Connery?
Living Daylights, no.
Oh, Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton in the first one, not the second one. The second one, it went back to the corny cornball...
See, I don't like the cornball shit.
Because people were like, well, I like Roger Moore cornball shit.
Some people do. That's fair.
The fucking weird thing is that the fucking Roger Moore cornball fucking Bond had a big female fan base that would go out and see the movie.
Not this female.
They were boomer.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of
They
crap.
love that shit.
That just makes me That just makes me roll my eyes. I'm just like, no. So dumb.
Yeah, they liked it.
I guess. I must be old ladies. I'm an old lady too, but I'm not that fucking old. I'm not into it.
My mom loved that shit. She said, well, yeah, but he's so suave. He doesn't have to do anything, and it's just easy for him.
He's so smarmy.
Yeah, but there's something about being snotty that...
I just wanted to slap him.
The boomer generation of women liked fucking arrogant dudes, or some of them.
God, I just wanted to slap him.
You know.
Or punch him in the dick or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, shut up. Thank you again, Zach. Zach gave us another super chat. Still nuts to me. Majesties was that director's first movie.
Yeah.
Such a damn visionary Peter Hunt was. Yeah. Still feels so modern watching it now.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
kind of because I had never seen it.
Yeah.
I had seen some of the older. I saw the Sean Connery ones and I saw the Roger Moore ones, and I had never seen this one because I felt like people were like divided about it.
Yeah.
But when we finally watched it, I was like, holy crap, this is like almost like
it's like
a modern movie.
It's like a Daniel Craig movie.
Yeah,
actually,
it was like a lot more along those lines. I mean, obviously it's an older movie, but it was a lot more. It was kind of ahead of its time. I feel like.
The tone was kind of like fucking fucking the first Craig movie, fucking Casino Royale. It kind of had that tone.
Yeah.
Now some people didn't like Quantum of Solace. I love Quantum of Solace. That's one of my favorite ones.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
You have to watch it a couple times.
After I saw it a few more times, it's still not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite of the Daniel Craig cycle. But
there's a bunch of occult references in it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and there's some kind of alchemical symbolism happening with burning water in the desert and oil. You know.
CB said, Tom, what did you think about James Bond dying in the last film? Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, I liked that because they drew that Bond to a close. You know what I mean? It's over. His story's over. They'll do another one. You know, it's just that particular Bond's gone.
Yeah, he probably got sick of doing it, I would imagine.
He's getting kind of old.
Yeah, and it's like it's a demanding role.
Yeah. He just has to go on a cycle and work out and get fucking jacked.
That's what I mean.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Like I said, it's a demanding role.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach said he had a real interesting career talking about Peter Hunt, and innovated a lot of editing techniques that are pretty commonplace now. Yeah, I'd be interested to like look more into his history because I was really very pleasantly surprised by that movie, like how modern it seemed, like especially compared to the other Bond films. I do like the Sean Connery ones, most of them. The Roger Moore ones, I feel like I probably liked them when I was a kid, but watching them as an adult, they're just kind of cringy. You know what I mean? And like I said, I know some people do like that kind of more unrealistic, like goofy kind of shit that he's, but like I said, he's just so smarmy. I just want to hit him. Like the whole time I'm watching him, I'm just like, I just want to reach through the screen and like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, it pisses me off so much. But yeah, so I don't know. I just like the more realistic direction. So I think that's probably why I like the George Lazenby one, because it was a lot more realistic.
Talking about the which one? What was more realistic?
Nothing. I'm just saying, like the Daniel Craig ones and the George Lazenby one.
Yeah.
John Gore said Bond can't afford long-term personal relationships in his line of work. That is true. Yes.
Yeah.
That is true. Because every time he finds a woman that he finds that is his equal and he marries her, she gets killed.
Yeah, but not in.
Well, that happened in the George Lazenby one too.
Yeah, I think that started that trope. I'm not sure. They should have kept going in that direction, that same tone. But the Daniel Craig James Bond, no, he eventually got the girl. She was the daughter of that Spectre agent.
Yeah, that's right.
And she went through like 3 movies with him, I think, maybe 2. I don't remember. And that was to kind of like assuage his loss of fucking Vespa. Remember the first one? Vesper was her name, right?
Yeah.
And
not Vespa like the motorcycle. No, Vesper.
Okay.
I actually knew a person in real life named that.
They're British, so they're not really fucking pronouncing the fucking R, I guess, strongly enough. I just thought she was Vespa. And
it's Vesper.
That means wasp in Italian, so I thought that's what they were calling her. Anyway, she got killed. She kind of killed herself, but she betrayed the money. She stole the money. You know what I mean? But she had to. She's being controlled by people.
Yeah.
She was compromised. And so she kind of took the place of what was in Her Majesty's Secret Service. What was the name of that girlfriend?
I can't remember.
Connie, maybe?
No, that wasn't it. I can't remember what her name was.
It might have been an Italian name. So I think she was Italian. But I think she was kind of be like Vesper.
Yeah. Tracy.
Tracy was her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Tracy. Yeah. Tracy dies. Which really you could tell by the way that whole fucking movie ended that they were
just because like the way they were going for it, I was like, oh man, she's not gonna make it.
Yeah. Well, also I could tell by the way that it ended that it was supposed to be the first movie in a series of them.
Right. So then he didn't want to do it.
They were setting the stage for him to become the Bond that I can't fucking get involved. You know what I mean? Fucking you could get hurt, that type of shit. You know.
Yeah.
So they had to
because it would set that up for a while. It's like, you know,
why he's like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And what was another thing that was great about the Lazenby one is that he actually did some kind of like secret agent shit, like impersonate another person. Like he pretended he was impersonating like what was that guy that was in a genealogy.
Yeah, like
heraldry.
A researcher kind of, like a heraldry guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he talks his way into Blofeld's fucking castle, and there's all these fucking hotties he's got in there, and he's talking, and all the hotties are fucking loving on him and shit, and he's being prim and proper, but I think he fucked 2 of them, didn't he?
I think it was 2 of them.
Yeah. But he also kind of saves them because Blofeld's gonna use them to deliver fucking bioweapons and shit. If I remember correctly, it was a bioweapon.
Yeah.
I think they were gonna die.
And they were like hypnotized, right?
They were hypnotized. He was hypnotizing them. It was with fucking auto suggestion and shit.
Yeah.
It was a great flick. And then Blofeld's dudes were fucking carrying a rare fucking Swiss fucking battle rifle. Basically, it was. I think they were in 7mm Mauser. It had 8-round detachable magazine, pistol grip, long fucking barrel, bipod on it. It was called a SIG. I think it was SIG STG 57, I think. SIG 54. I don't remember the exact name for it. They're very rare in the United States. There are a couple in here, but I saw that thing and I go, man, they got those? Because he was in the Alps. So they got the right guns and everything for the time. That was something the Swiss would have had. Oh.
CB said James Bond was STD proof because he never caught anything. Well, not that we saw in the movies anyway. That's what happened between the movies. He was like on a cycle of fucking
he probably had
medications for gonorrhea.
He had a very fucking strong constitution that he had built up from multiple exposures.
I guess so. He's like, I'm just immune to everything because it's like he fucking holy shit. Yeah, probably. I guess you like fucking, I don't know. Zach says, it's crazy looking at directors they almost got for Bond. Tony Scott almost did a few. Now, that might have been interesting. They looked at Peter Medak, who, like, my favorite movie of his is probably The Changeling still. And John Woo for another movie.
Little Dustin Hoffman wanted to be fucking James Bond. They didn't take him up on that. But he was good. He was a good actor, though. He's a great actor.
Oh, he was in Straw Dogs.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
As we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but physically he's not the type. He's
not.
He's a little short guy, and he just.
It's like you should get a Brit or somebody that can do a passable British accent and a whole British thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a British superhero, basically. James Bond. It's a British thing.
Yeah, like I said, you don't necessarily have to be British because I don't really mind when British actors play Americans as long as they can do it. Which a lot of them can. So if you can get an American that could play like a suave British dude, I don't know. I can't really think of anybody, but they could.
Dude that played fucking dude from The Walking Dead that played that damn sheriff, fucking British.
Andy Lincoln.
Yeah, Andy Lincoln. I thought that dude. I was going, man, he's from the South.
Nope.
You know, I was like, that's got to be Alabama.
Nope.
Where he came from. He had me fooled. Saw an interview and he came out with a fucking thick British accent. I was like, wait, hold on, the dude's British. It's a hell of an accent.
Well, I guess some people
fucking learned how to do it right.
Well, I guess some people knew because he had been in that British romantic comedy Love Actually prior to The Walking Dead. Yeah. So I think some people knew him from that.
Yeah.
But I had heard of that movie, but I never watched it because I don't really like rom-coms.
What was the name of that character that fucking he was playing the cop? He was always asking for talking to Carl Michonne. What was the name of the cop?
No, I don't know. I can't remember.
I forgot.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time I've seen those. Yeah.
I don't know. You always like bring these questions up, and
I thought you remember that guy's name. They'll remember it.
I'll probably remember it in a minute, but I don't really remember.
Yeah.
Rick, there you go.
Rick, yeah. Rick Grimes.
Rick Grimes, that's right.
Yeah, Rick Grimes, I think is what it is.
Yeah. A couple of those actors were British.
Yeah.
The woman that played Maggie, I think, was also British.
Yeah.
Because wasn't she in that horror movie, The Boy, about that weird ceramic doll?
I don't know. The first 4 or 5 seasons of fucking Walking Dead were great, and then they started to fucking really decline. The quality of the writing got bad. But like the first 3 or 4 seasons, man, it was an excellent survival horror. Almost
and the dude that played the governor was British as well.
Yeah. Almost like a training manual on how to fucking get through a fucking extremely low trust society. And yeah, a lot of that shit fucking would hold up, under fucking scrutiny when it came to. Now they had another thing I like about it was on location. I think it was Georgia. Looked like. So when you see that those are
they shot the whole thing in
Georgia. Is the South, and those are Southern structures that they're showing you, and they're showing you kind of like the very low end ones, like old shit that's all fucked up. Which there's a lot of that around here. It's going away slowly, but I guess they still have it up in Georgia. Well, a lot of little towns have it. You can buy a house there for nothing, but you can have a job. There's no jobs though. That's the problem.
Well, that's why the housing is
That's
cheap.
why the housing is like
because
that.
there's no jobs there, and
no
one wants to live there.
Yeah.
So that's why that happens.
Hot. Hot.
It's like the places where everybody wants to live are too expensive. The places where nobody wants to live are super cheap.
Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, no club life, nightlife. If you like goth clubs and shit, that's not there. There aren't any high-paying jobs. You can have fun there, but only certain kinds of fun. Like, whenever I was living in Mississippi, or me and my first wife, we had to go. We lived on the coast too, fucking past Christian, and we had to. We went to the French Quarter in New Orleans. That's where we went every weekend. There was casinos on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, but there aren't any goth clubs. Strip clubs, and casinos, and it's nice, real nice. The casinos are fucking great buffets. Go in there and just eat. I'd just go to the casino to eat the buffet. You had to pay. I think it was like $20, but man, this shit was fucking fantastic. All you could eat, fucking steak and shrimp, fucking lobster tails up in there, and fucking just. It ain't normal. It's a fucking casino. They probably don't make any money off that fucking buffet. That's just they're trying to trick you to go in there so you put some money in the slot machines. That's what they're baiting you to go in there.
DVD Dragon says Clive Owen would have been a good Bond. I agree. I think he would have been. He's probably a little too old now. I'm not really sure how old Clive Owen is, but he definitely does have that Bond look and that Bond demeanor. But like I said, he's probably too old at this point. He's probably the same age as Daniel Craig, I would imagine.
I think
he was great in fucking Children of Men. That's another one we should review. That's a great fucking movie.
Tom Hardy could have done it, but they should have got him earlier. When he was about 40. So you could start off kind of young,
all these movies
younger.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever seen Children of Men.
Wow.
You'd probably like it, but I saw it a long time ago. But it's really good. Zach gave us another super chat, by the way. He's like, man, he's paying his whole fucking way tonight, isn't he?
Yeah.
John Landis, Rennie Harlan, Roger Mitchell, and Danny Boyle almost did Bond at points. Oh, a Danny Boyle Bond film. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. That would have been kind of strange. Michael Apted, of all people, actually did one of the movies, too. Yeah, I don't... Honestly, I can't see any of those. Rennie Harlan... I don't know. I can't really see that work. Well, maybe that might have worked out. John Landis, I don't think that would have worked out. I love John Landis, but I don't think he's really a Bond guy. Same with Danny Boyle. I really like Danny Boyle's movies, but I don't think he's really a Bond guy. Out of those, Rennie Harlan is probably the closest to a Bond director that I would think, but even then, it's like, I don't know if that would work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, John Landis, Danny Boyle, and stuff like that, they don't make these big, epic, globe-spanning special effects extravaganza kind of... They don't make movies like that, necessarily. Or that's not really their stock in trade, so it's like, I don't really... It might be interesting experiment to see what they did with it, but I don't know if it would work. And then Phantom said John Landis had a cameo appearance in the 1993 film The Stand, which was surprising to see. Yeah, that's right. He shows up... He does cameos in a lot of shit, I've noticed. Because, like, I'll be watching some random-ass movie from, like, the 80s, like some low-budget thing. I'm like, hey, it's John Landis. He's, like, in there for 5 seconds. He was everywhere. Victor says it's like the buffet at the strip club. Yeah. Well, the strip club...
Strip clubs don't have buffets, right? Well, the buffet at the strip club, you're talking about fucking Rachel's.
It's not a buffet, though. They just have, like... It's not a buffet,
no,
is
yeah,
it?
it is.
Is it?
At Rachel's, yeah. It's a buffet.
Like an all-you-can-eat buffet? Oh,
yeah.
okay. I don't know. I've never eaten
Yeah,
there.
but
I've only been there one time.
They sell steaks, though, too.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a steakhouse. Steakhouse and buffet. And they got people to go in there just to get the buffet.
I doubt that's the only reason they're going there.
I don't fucking doubt it. I don't doubt that at all. It's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You see, they got regulars. You know what I mean?
They have I know.
Regulars. They come
everywhere has regulars.
Yeah. So, and I think they just go there to fuck for the buffet and stuff. They're probably sick of looking at those girls. It's all the same girls all the time.
Yeah, so everyone's like, yeah, I've seen those too.
Yeah, I've seen all that.
Big deal.
Well,
it's like, oh, she got a new
They had
outfit.
a bike night. I think it was every Wednesday. I never went though.
Yeah.
I think it started in a day, and they had all kind of discounts for that.
Like I said, you go if you wanted to. It's kind of far, but
yeah, it's too far.
That is very far. Well, it's not far, but it's like it would be like far for coming home at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Victor says The Stand is my favorite book of all time.
Yeah, that's a good book.
Holy shit.
Good, yeah.
I don't even know if I could pick a favorite book of all time. If I mean, if you said you were going to kill me if I didn't come up with one, I guess The Haunting of Hill House. I'm a big Shirley Jackson fan, but I don't know. For a while, I know this is going to be weird, but like my favorite book of all time was Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy, which is probably the most depressing book ever written. But for some reason, I really vibed with it. Like, I think I read it either when I was in high school or when I was just out of high school. And it's weird because we read some Thomas Hardy for school, and I didn't, like, read, like, Mayor of Casterbridge and stuff, and I really didn't like it. But then later on, I read Jude the Obscure, and I was just kind of like, oh my god, it's, like, the best book ever. And it was, like, such a bummer. It's just, like, this litany of, like, terrible, terrible things, like, happening to people. And for some reason, it really resonated with me. I don't know why. I haven't read it, like, in a long time, so it might not hit the same as it did at that time in my life. And they also did a movie adaptation of it with Christopher Eccleston and Kate Winslet, I think. And I really dug that movie. And I don't really... it was just called Jude. And I don't ever hear anybody talking. It seems like everybody forgot that it was ever made. But I actually quite liked it. But again, I haven't seen it in a long time.
There was a book that I read at Camp Greaves when I was in Korea back in '91. And I've looked for it online. I can't find it. It was called Chronos. And I don't remember the author or anything. And it may have been spelled with a K. It was a pretty thick book.
Was it like sci-fi?
Yeah.
Did they do a movie adaptation? Because that sounds familiar.
Well, I'm going to tell you what happens in it. It's a dude goes to sleep. He's kind of like a regular Joe. He goes to sleep in the bed, and when he wakes up, the room's different. And he walks around through his apartment, and it's the same layout mostly, but the furniture's slightly different. And when he looks outside, he sees cars from the 1960s, and he realizes that he's back in the 60s. And he's walking around seeing things, and he found a gun. And it was, and I don't remember exactly, but it was a gun that was never made. Do you know what I mean? The name and the model numbers, they just didn't match together. He's like, he was mixing Colt and Smith & Wesson together. And he realized that he was not back in the 60s. He was in the 60s in a parallel universe. And he didn't know how he got there. And as the story unfolds, he realizes that the book is kind of like The Gunslinger. The Gunslinger reminded me a lot of this. He realizes that he is Lee Harvey Oswald in the other dimension. Oh,
I gotcha.
And that
sounds familiar.
Yeah, and that
I might have read that.
And that he has to kill that Kennedy. He was sent there to do it. But if I remember correctly, somebody stops him, and he's kind of like he's a demon. A demon stops him. but the demon looks just like fucking Clint Eastwood, exactly like Clint Eastwood, and he takes the form of Clint Eastwood, like you know, and fucking he tells him, if I remember correctly, he fucking talks him out of it, and he fucking tells him that he's being manipulated. And it turns out Aztecs in another dimension actually had an industrial revolution in the 1500s. The conquistadors showed up, and the Aztecs were able to fucking annihilate them. And then they built fucking long-range bombers and bombed Europe flat in the 1500s with long-range fucking bombers. When they got to their version of the 1980s, they had the technology to fucking do these dimension doors. So they were kind of futuristic parallel universe Aztecs. They were grabbing people in different dimensions and sending them to do things in other dimensions to fucking, I forgot what it was. It has something to do with a grand scheme to open up. It was to open up a fucking portal to a fucking dimension of death, basically, and I believe it was called Kronos. And it had it. It was in a pit, and it just looked like a black swirling mass of like stars and stuff. And there was something they would have to do, and if they activated that would destroy most of reality for some reason. And the Aztecs were going to do it. I don't know if it was a sacrifice or like they were sacrificing the universe, like a blood sacrifice. You know, I don't remember exactly what it was. But I can't find that book again. And if anybody recognizes that story, please fucking put it in the comments.
I mean, it sounds familiar. I don't think it's that obscure.
Yeah,
I don't think it is.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But he traveled around through all these different dimensions. He went to different dimensions. And he had a demon with him that looked like Clint Eastwood, that had guns and everything. And there was somebody else with him. I forgot what it was. They were just people from other dimensions that he'd pick up, kind of like the way the gunslinger would from Stephen King's books. So I remembered it. But I can't find it. It's called Kronos. And I think it might have been spelt with a K.
Burley says, am I a piece of shit because I think American Werewolf in London is overrated? No, you're entitled to that opinion. I love that movie, but, you know, I can see it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to get all upset about it. Victor says the strip club buffet made me gay. Also asking, DVD Dragon say they serve cake at the strip club. Phantom saying Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I'm assuming that's what his favorite book is. Victor says, most overrated book of all time, House of Leaves. Yeah, I can see that. Look, I love House of Leaves. I've read it a couple of, like, 2 or 3 times. And, but it's not for everybody. I get that there's, like, a huge hype about it. And it was, like, it was a big deal at the time because it was really experimental. And it was, like, doing something that, you know, that hadn't really, I don't want to say it hadn't been done before, but it's just, like, in that particular way. And if you kind of let yourself get into it, it was just, like, this whole fucking wormhole of, you know, of all this kind of stuff. But I get it. Like, I get that some people didn't really like it. Burley said 1984 is my favorite book, as corny as that sounds. No, that's okay. And I kind of hated Great Gatsby. I didn't love Great Gatsby. Like, of all the stuff that we had to read that was assigned in school, we did read Great Gatsby. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think my favorite thing that I read in high school, weirdly enough, was probably The Scarlet Letter. But I'm a big fan of Nathaniel Hawthorne. Like, I like House of Seven Gables, and I like all that kind of stuff. Because he was kind of a, you know, gothic, romantic. It's along the lines of Edgar Allan Poe. Not as horror-y, but, you know, along those same lines. So I was kind of into that, too. But, you know, that was probably my favorite one of everything that we read in school. But, yeah, Victor said it sounds like the book Aztec Century.
That's not, though.
Yeah, maybe.
It was called Kronos.
Not to be confused with the Guillermo del Toro movie from 1993 about the vampire that turns into a vampire by that weird, like, alchemical mechanism.
They weren't art Aztecs, though. They looked like Aztecs, but they had blonde hair and blue eyes, and they were high tech. They were all because they were like centuries ahead of like people in technology compared to our universe, our dimension. because they had an industrial revolution in the 1500s, so they were several hundred years ahead. And so they weren't exactly the same Aztecs in that dimension. And in that dimension, like for instance, I guess the Europeans that they bombed flat weren't quite the same type of people. They probably looked a little bit different. And like when I said that the dude that looked like Clint Eastwood was a demon, the kind of demon they were talking about is kind of like an Islamic jinn. They were a being that could kind of live in between dimensions in another kind of parallel spirit world. They didn't really have anything to do with the devil. They could be any alignment. They could be evil or good, or it just didn't matter. This one was like, he was pretty good. He knew what Clint Eastwood looked like from the spaghetti westerns, and that was the form he would take. I think the only difference was he looked like, I think his eyes glowed. So you can almost say he was like an extra-dimensional alien. It was a good book. If I could find it again, I'd like to fucking see. I'd like to read it again. I remember that he would, in that book, he would start going down a certain direction in the plot, and then he'd forget about that. Never mention it again. So I know he was I don't think he wrote a whole lot of books, but they were fun.
Like he didn't outline it ahead of time?
I think he was kind of making it up as he was going along. And he would forget about certain ideas. He'd come up with a really good idea. He goes, oh man, yeah, I see where this is going to go. But then the story would keep coming in, and he would never refer back to it again. You forgot all about it. You forgot about it.
That happens sometimes when you're writing novels. It's just kind of like when you get too much into it, you're just like, I totally forgot about that.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Whatever.
He does that several times.
Yeah.
Because he comes up with some really good shit. Like, okay, so, I think it's going to open up a new episode, you know what I mean? And he's going to go there. And I think he planned to, but for some reason, as the story went on, he forgot to do it.
Forgot to do it,
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
That's why I like writing short stories better. It's like I can keep my fucking wits about me longer.
Yeah.
If I have to do a novel, it's just like, wait, what was I talking about? Yeah, it's just kind of like that. DVD Dragon said, I liked Animal Farm in school. A quick read that was to the point. Yeah, I mean, George Orwell, always a plus. Phantom says, Cabal by Clive Barker was really good, which eventually got made into Nightbreed. Honestly, Clive Barker, probably, I mean, my favorite shit of his is probably like Books of Blood Volume 1 still. But I think my favorite one of all his big, like, chunkers that he wrote, like, his big fucking novels, was probably Weave World. I just really, really liked the premise behind that. I just thought it was, like, really cool. But I also liked, strangely enough, Cold Heart Canyon. Like, I really liked that one a lot as well. I've read pretty much all of his stuff, but Damnation Game was also good. All his shit's good. Clive Barker was the guy that made me want to be a horror writer. I had read Stephen King and seen horror movies before I read Clive Barker. But when I read Books of Blood, the short stories, I was like, that's what I want to do right there. Because that was, I mean, Stephen King shit is great, but Clive Barker was like doing something. He was doing something completely different. Completely different.
There is a book called Chronos from 2009, but it's not that one. This is from 2009, and it's spelled with a K.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty common. I feel like that's a pretty common title. CB, a Kestrel for an Kess. I know what you're talking about. That was a Kestrel for a Knave was the novel, and then they made the movie. It was Ken Loach, was it not, that made Kess? I've read the book. I have it somewhere, and the movie as well. It's depressing as fuck, but it was really, really good. The book was really good. The movie was excellent, too. I'm a big Ken Loach fan. Like I said, a lot of his movies are kind of depressing, too, but that's okay. I feel like, of the British filmmakers, I really like Ken Loach. I like Mike Leigh. Mike Leigh's stuff was a little more, I don't want to say upbeat, necessarily, but he at least had some levity in there, whereas Ken Loach's were usually just depressing. But yeah, DVD Dragon said, I hated The Great Gatsby. A rich simp who could not get over one woman. No attitude of abundance and clingy. Yeah, he was not a very likable character. I'm trying to think of all the stuff that we read in school that because I did actually, I was kind of a nerd like that. I was kind of the kid that the jock people that didn't want to read the stuff, they would always be like, hey, can you write my essay for me, or can I copy off your test, or anything like that? And I would always go, nope. Fail, motherfucker. You can read. So, yeah, I'm like, I'm not doing your work for you. So I wouldn't, but they did ask me. They couldn't read a fucking simple novel, which I can do in one afternoon. I don't really know what the problem is. But yeah, so, like I said, I think The Scarlet Letter was probably my favorite. I remember my 10th grade English class, which was just American literature. So a lot of it was kind of like, it was weird because a lot of it was like Puritan literature. Like I said, which The Scarlet Letter, that kind of goes along with that, right? But we had to read like all that, like Sinners in the Hand of an Angry God, or whatever the hell that fucking, which wasn't a novel, that was like a sermon, I guess. So we read a lot of that kind of stuff. But that was kind of cool. I feel like 11th, 12th grade was better, because then you got into European literature, and then we got to read Beowulf and Frankenstein and Macbeth and all that kind of shit, which was like way better. You know?
Yeah.
I don't remember what year we read The Great Gatsby, though. And then we read, I was gonna say, like, we read a couple like great like post-apocalyptic ones, like Alas Babylon and On the Beach. That was a good one. I liked that one. And then we read, what's the one that all the edgelords like? Shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
The one about the fucking teenage boy. That's fucking, god damn it, what the fuck is the name of that thing? I'm getting old. I must have mad cow disease or something. Yeah. I can't remember. I can't remember shit anymore.
It's a movie about a teenager.
No, it's really a book. It's a book.
It's a book about a teenager. I don't know. Yeah.
It's a very, very famous book.
Yeah.
Very famous book. They assign it in school still. I just can't remember the name of it. I'll remember in a second. Phantom says that new werewolves film has taken a lot of heat from the internet so far since it's been out. Must not be a good film. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't see a lot of buzz about it. I didn't see a lot of shit about it. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if I don't see a lot of horror channels that I like covering it, or they seem to be like not all that enthused, then I'll probably watch it, but I'll wait till it's free. You know what I'm saying? Like, because going to the movies is expensive. So it's like, I better make sure it's going to like be fucking decent.
Now, is fucking Nosferatu only going to be on Christmas?
Yeah, it's coming out at Christmas.
So it's...
Now, some people have...
It's not showing for one night.
No, okay. That's just when it's released.
Okay, yeah.
That's just when it's released.
All right.
And from what like I said, I haven't watched any trailers or anything like... I've seen a trailer, but I haven't watched any reviews or anything. But from everything I'm seeing, everybody's saying, like, it's the best fucking shit ever.
Yeah,
so I don't
it's supposed to be super awesome.
Catcher in the Rye. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. Catcher in the Rye. Yeah, that's like the edgelord playbook.
The edgelord.
But, you know what I mean? It's an okay book, though. It's an okay book. We read that in school, too. I don't remember if we read A Clockwork Orange in school or if I just read that on my own. I probably just read that on my own. Because I used to read everything. I still try to read a lot, but I used to read a lot more. Like, I used to go to the library and, like, get a huge pile. And, like, I would read this huge pile, like, over the next 3 weeks. I don't really have time to do that anymore, unfortunately. But I still try to, like, keep up with shit. I still try to at least read one a week. They said, yeah, it's not really that gory, the werewolves one. CB said, at school I read From Hell. Wow, really? The Alan Moore graphic novel? That's pretty rad. I guess because it's Jack the Ripper. Yeah, Victor said, I don't remember much from Catcher in the Rye, but I do remember The Jungle. Oh, yeah, Sinclair Lewis. Yeah, we read that one, too. That's fucked up. I mean, that book, like, had a huge fucking impact. I'm trying to remember, like, I don't remember if I read this for school, but if you guys have never read any Flannery O'Connor, I know, like, a lot of schools, like, for, like, as far as Southern Gothic goes, like, William Faulkner is, like, the go-to. But if you never read any Flannery O'Connor, like, please read some of her stuff, because that shit is, like, really, really good. Like, I had, like, a big book of her short stories that were, like, fucking excellent. If you're into, like, Southern Gothic, you know what I mean? Yeah, Victor said, I need to start reading again. I want to quit social media after New Year. Yeah, it's just, I really like... I mean, I was kind of not a big... I like print books. I have a huge collection of them. Like, I used to go... Back in the day, I used to go to the bookstore every weekend and buy books. Or the library. Or the library. Sometimes I go to the library and check out a huge pile, and then I would go to the bookstore and buy a couple. I wouldn't usually pay full price for them. I would usually go, like, because you know how Barnes & Noble and stuff has the, like, cheaper books in the front, like the hardbacks that they're trying to get rid of. Like, I would usually just kind of browse through those and find something, like, interesting. Fiction, nonfiction, I don't care. Just whatever sounded interesting, so I'd read everything. So I have, like, a massive, massive collection. So I always kind of liked print books better, but just the way that shit is now, it's just easier for me to read shit on Kindle. You know what I mean? I don't have a Kindle, but I have the Kindle app, like, for my phone and for desktop. So I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, and a lot of books are available on Amazon that you can read for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you can just read them for free. So that's usually, like, all the book reviews and stuff are either I got them for free on Kindle Unlimited or an author sent them to me. You know? Every now and then, like, I'll go and buy one, but not usually. Because sometimes we go, because there's a Books A Million across from Ichiban, the Chinese buffet we go to. So a lot of times we'll go in the Books A Million, like, to get a cup of coffee because there's a coffee shop in there. But, you know, and every now and then I'll see something I want. But usually I'm just kind of like, hey, if I want to read some. Right now I'm reading a Christmas horror book called The Sleigh, which is actually pretty good. It's like, it's super gory, which, you know, I'm kind of into that. Like, if you saw, like, the other day I posted, like, a kind of more ghosty mystery Christmas thing called Alice, A Christmas Ghost Story. But that was really, really good. I really like that a lot. But this one is a lot more straight up, like, monster. It's not Krampus, but it's like a Christmassy, demon-y kind of situation. It's Krampus-y. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. But it's, like, super gory. But it's good. It's really good. It's kind of about two cops that are, like, following this Christmas demon that's, like, killing people in really, really horrible, graphic, horrible ways. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm almost done with it. I think I'm like 85% or something like that. Let's see. Tammy says, Victors, you better not quit this show. How will you know if I win the lottery and we can go stalk Eddie? Or if you win the lottery and, you know, you pay for the video for Tom to get pegged. Everybody wants to see that.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
That's what you said you were going to do that if you won the lottery. You don't have to.
So much money.
You don't have to. Like, don't feel
take
pressure.
So much money. Sell my virginity. Put that shit up on eBay.
It'll be over soon, Tom.
It's almost 10 o'clock
now. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've been having a good time though. You think?
Yeah, I'm just getting hungry.
Oh, he's getting hungry.
Yeah.
We didn't really eat that much today.
No. Kept the
we had some curry left over, and we had that like at 11 this morning. And then just before the show, we had like a little cheese sandwich just so we wouldn't drink on an empty stomach. But that was several hours ago.
Yeah.
Also, Tom is he's going to make some French vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Like with eggs in it and everything.
Yeah,
like he cooked the eggs and everything. Like he cooked the mix.
Yeah, you got to cook the mix.
Because you got to cook the eggs like.
Yeah, and chill it overnight.
Yeah.
I made enough to make a gallon. Yeah, it was fucking, shit. 10 eggs, 4 cups of cream, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of sugar,
protein,
about four tablespoons of fucking vanilla extract, real vanilla extract, and put that all in there. Put it in the Instant Pot, and put it on simmer low, and brought it up to almost a boil, where it just starts steaming. You just cook the eggs like that. You don't want to bring it into a boil. And then you take it off the heat, let it cool, then pour it down in a pitcher. Put that in the refrigerator. Then the next day you just pour it in your ice cream maker. An hour later you come back. Should be good for French vanilla ice cream. It's thick. It's almost like custard. It's a custard type ice cream.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this turns out.
Yeah.
Because last night we ate the last of. He made some mint ice cream.
Yeah.
That had like big like Oreo chunks in it.
Yeah. I still have some.
Oh, you still have some left?
Yeah,
Ooh,
well, we can have it after we eat.
That sounds good.
All right.
If I can eat that much, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure we probably can.
If not,
Victor says, "Oh, that reminds me, Jenny. I sent you a pegging meme earlier. Oh, now I'm gonna have to go look at that."
Y'all are fucking ridiculous.
I didn't see it.
Y'all,
Come on, it's so fun.
Y'all are fucking ridiculous.
It's so fun because we know you don't want to do it. So it's like fun to like fucking fuck with you about it. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
Hey,
shut this shit down.
Hey, girls gotta take it. You also gotta take it.
No,
you know. What I mean?
that's in your mind. You're trying to justify it. No,
I'm trying to justify it. I would never do it against your will, Tom. I'm not that kind of person.
It ain't ever gonna happen.
Unless someone wins the lottery.
What is that?
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go get some sandwiches.
Yeah.
And probably sit and watch Wang for a couple hours and then eat some ice cream.
Yep.
Victor says we know he doesn't want to do it for free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's fucking funny.
Exactly. We're just fucking with him, Tom.
Get the fuck out of here.
He has to protect his manhood. His little virgin butthole. Okay, so that makes me laugh so much. All right, so anyway, thank you very much for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you for your super chats. We'll be back again on Monday reviewing a movie. Not entirely sure which one it was. We'll try to do Dead Man's Shoes because I know that you've brought that one up several times, but holy crap, we have like a huge list now that you guys recommended and that I thought of and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. All right, so have a good weekend, everybody, and we'll see you guys again on Monday night.